And we are live. This is the sound check portion of the podcast, folks. You know the drill. Let us know how we sound.
This is the sound check portion of the Garrett handling show.
There's a throwback. Holy shit. So I'll give you guys a little preview of what I'm drinking here tonight whilst we wait for the people to tell us how we sound. Thanks, Tom.
Yep.
This is Back to Reality. More fitting than even they thought it would be. But you know, I'm back from vacation, back to reality.
Well, almost. I mean, you were teleworking, so it's not like
true.
It's not full reality yet.
Got the vacation scruff going a little bit.
The reality will really hit when, for me tomorrow morning when I'm pulling into the gate. Just like, oh God.
All right, we got Big Lovin', we got Tevin, we got the Jensen brothers. Can somebody tell us how we sound, please? Because all Bronco Fett knows how to say is click. So
I'm trying to like. I wonder what. It should be a positive click and a negative click, or if it's negative, it'll be click click. Maybe.
All right. Well, Tevin says we're good.
All right. Well, if Tevin says we're good, we're good.
And Big Lovin' says we sound fine, which it's
fine. Yeah, it's Big Lovin', so we're fine.
All right.
Oh, hey, Luna Girl, long time no see.
Yeah.
Big Lovin', you still on vacay or out in the? He was by some lake, right?
I thought he was in Florida.
Is that in Florida?
I don't know. Weren't you in Florida?
I don't know. Wherever it was, it looked relaxing.
Yeah,
and nice. Yeah. Clack, clickety clack. Jason was just talking about that.
Yeah. Hot hand at the dice game, baby girl. 6 hours straight. Clackety, clackety, clack. Now I'm the world's richest man.
Back to the grind. No, up north. All right. Sounds like you don't have a roadcaster yet.
What does that even mean?
We're still waiting on that roadcaster money. We need one of those podcast sponsorship money trucks that come backing up to the fucking studio. Beep, beep. Yeah, come on, bring it.
Yeah, so far so
yeah, not so much.
Nothing. All right, cool. Well, I guess we have a good sound check. So, without further ado,
yep, it is 17:30 on the button.
Give me a countdown, and it's your toast, and we'll get rolling.
3, 2, 1. It's my Uncle Fred.
Uncle Fred.
So, as many people may know, I think I had mentioned something on social media, but my Uncle Fred passed away a week and change ago. So last week was all funeral stuff and, you know, all the things that entails for the family. It was very sudden.
Unexpected.
Sudden, unexpected. It was one of those things that you like for my family in particular, like we haven't had a loss like this where it's been sudden. We've, you know, when people are sick and you have time to kind of like you lean into the grieving process and it like has this like natural matriculation, you know, it's still bad, you know, somebody passing away, but usually you have, you can mentally be a little bit more ready for it. But when you get a phone call at 9:00 at night, saying that someone has passed, it's a good swift kick in the dick.
Yeah.
So it's been a sad time for the Martins. But we'll keep on keeping on. And for my Uncle Fred, the biggest legacy that I can, or the mark that I can say he left on me, or one of the biggest ones was like science fiction. You know, I went and saw Empire Strikes Back in the drive-in.
Okay, so he was the uncle that you went with.
Okay, I was with Uncle Fred. He had Whereas my dad is much more of a like Tom Clancy type reader.
Sure.
Right. My Uncle Fred was a sci-fi reader.
Okay.
So one of my favorite books is one that he gave to me like when I was like 12. It was called The Crosstime Engineer by Leo Frankowski. There's a whole series and about this dude who basically he's Polish, right? And he's an engineer, like a mechanical engineer, and he gets liquored up in Krakow somewhere in this fucking old, 13th century fucking alehouse, passes out in the basement, wakes up, and he's in the 13th century. And it's like, so he takes all his engineering abilities and like applies it to where he is, and he becomes this like it becomes a whole thing. It's fucking it was really, really good, and it was a good introduction to sci-fi for me.
Sure, yeah.
He loves Star Wars. His last Halloween costume was as a Jedi.
Nice.
And yeah, he also enjoyed Star Trek and Doctor Who, and like he was sci-fi. He was a nerd. He was a fellow nerd.
It's great. Yeah, one of our own.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll miss you, Uncle Fred.
Yeah, cheers again, Uncle Fred.
Well, we're gonna move on from that.
Yeah, I don't know how we're gonna bring up the vibe here, but we'll just start with hello, everyone, and welcome to this very special episode of the Sidebar Cantina. This is our 200th episode.
200 episodes.
Yeah. So this is the Dave and Jason show, which is now officially being called the Sidebar Cantina.
Right.
Dave was just pointing to our episode 100.
Two of those.
Yeah.
God.
So we've done that twice now.
Jesus Christ. It's fucking just unbelievable.
Yeah. The framed episode 100 shirt brought by the refugee caravan.
Wow. Jeez.
I'm still on beer number 1. Too.
Well, you know what it is? It's because we ate so well.
Yeah.
I'm fidgeting over here. It's because we ate so well. We got like that food kind of.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Food intoxication.
Yes, that, like what you said.
Right. So anyway, this is episode 200 of what we are now calling the Sidebar Cantina. And Dave, what are we talking about today?
Getting back to our roots. We're getting back to our roots with some Star Wars.
Yes.
And
I think you might be doing that the whole month.
Yeah, it's
right?
This is
the May. Yeah.
Sidebar. It's remarkable that we've gotten this far into May and I haven't gotten a meme from you, a Justin Timberlake meme from you, or have heard you say
it's gonna be May.
Yes. Like, because I remember last year it was like to the point where I wanted to fucking like stab you with it's gotta be May thing. So
no, I remember posting it last year and Kristen gave me a bunch of shit for it. So I was like, fuck it, I won't do it this year. Even though I saw them everywhere and I wanted to just click that share button on Facebook, but I'm like, no, fuck it.
You are a model of restraint, my friend.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're talking about the Bad Batch.
Yes.
We were going to actually cover episode 1 right before Jason left for vacation. Things happened, so we weren't able to do that. So we're actually going to talk about the first 3 episodes of the Bad Batch.
Yep.
And spoiler alert, I didn't hate it.
That's great. Especially considering if you go back and listen to when we covered the last season of the Clone Wars, with the first 2 episodes were based on the Bad Batch, and Dave did not have a favorable opinion.
I did not.
So I'm glad to hear that.
We'll get into that.
Yeah. So as we do when we do Star Wars, we like to talk about Star Wars news. And of course, we just passed May the 4th. Again, we were going to record right after May the 4th for this episode, but shit happens. Life finds a way to interfere with your plans. So we're still going to talk about some stuff that was announced on May the 4th because I think it's still relevant for us. Big thing was a whole bunch of merch got announced, mostly related to the Bad Batch because the Bad Batch debuted on May the 4th.
Right.
And of course, the thing that I focused on was the pops because, as you know, we have the Sacred Jedi pops all over the studio here. So, and my question to you, Dave, is what is your plan for the Bad Batch pops?
So I was late to so when they did the release, I was very deliberate in not engaging with okay, I could either spend a fuck ton of money and pre-order all these things, or I'm just going to let it rest. And then as I was letting it rest, I kind of let it rest too far. So I missed almost all the pre-ordering except I got one on pre-order. So they're really good. Like, I think if it was the Bad Batch without their helmets, that I would probably not be interested in getting them.
Right.
However,
pops right up there
with their helmets on, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
they're good looking pops. So I foresee down the road that I will be enabling some pop procurement.
So here's my question for you, because I've paid no attention whatsoever to the pops except for times like this when it gets announced that new ones are coming out. Is it now to a point where if you don't pre-order it, you're pretty much shit out of luck with a lot of these?
I think with these in particular, yeah, because the collectors they're doing that thing where they're like, okay, we're going, regardless of if you're a collector and you really want them or you want them for resale, whoop, they're going out and sucking them all in.
Okay.
So then, when they come to get released, then you're going to go on eBay and say, all right, have this in hand because they bought them from the pre-order.
Sure.
So it sucks, but collectors have been dealing with shit like that for as long as people have been collecting shit, right?
Yeah, especially with Star Wars.
And pops right now, I haven't looked at the app recently, but pops are getting up there. And some of the more rare pops, like there's 2 Amazon exclusives with this Bad Batch release, and there's a Target exclusive with Omega. So
Omega,
I'll get them. Don't you worry. I'll get them.
I was just curious because, again, I know how you felt about the Bad Batch before, and I know you don't get every Star Wars pop, but I saw these; they looked cool.
I like them. I like them with the helmets on.
Yeah.
I think it's that those are definitely. If they had released, like I said, if they released it and I got to look at fucking Rambo's face, I probably wouldn't get it. But because they have their helmets on, then yeah, it's cool.
All right. Fair enough. Now, something that piqued my interest, and I'm sure it piqued yours too, is they also announced a very special edition Xbox controller. So, and I've got it right up there on the screen. It's a Darth Vader, wireless controller. It's fucking beautiful.
It is gorgeous.
There's 2 issues here, though. The first is the fact that it's $180 goddamn dollars.
Yes,
which is insane for a fucking controller.
Yes.
But the second thing is that it's Razer. It's not made by Microsoft. Now, if you know me, I am all in on Razer products when it comes to the PC.
Right.
I've always sworn off third-party controllers when it comes to the consoles because I've had shitty luck.
Yeah.
Like, you never, like, this goes back to, like, the days of the PS2 and the original Xbox. Like, those were the last times I bought third-party controllers because I'm like, fuck this. These controllers are garbage. I'm only buying from the actual console manufacturers from now on. This might be the first time where I make an exception to that rule because Razer makes fucking shit hot products. They are really, really good, and I fully trust them to make an Xbox controller.
And plus, it's a Star Wars licensed product too. So
Yes.
they're going to release something like this on May the 4th. Their reputation is built into this product now. Like, hey, you're going to get this controller.
Yeah, the fact that you see this on StarWars.com in their official announcement, so you know that they're going to put some quality behind it.
It's just fucking gorgeous. I really want it.
Yeah, me too.
But it's 180, like you said, it's 180 fucking dollars. I'd have to sell one of my pops to fucking be able to get that. And
just one of them.
What? There's a couple that I could sell.
Yeah,
or like that, but I won't. I'm not going to do that because reasons. Yeah, it's fucking gorgeous. I just the Empire emblem just jumps out at me.
Yeah,
makes me want to go home and on my black controller, like get a sticker, just put the sticker on there. Maybe that would satisfy my craving.
Yeah, or maybe it's time we restarted the Patreon and just for the purposes of buying the Darth Vader controller.
Fucking new soundboard. We would just get the Darth.
Fuck all the sound equipment. Fuck anything to like actually help the podcast.
Yeah,
we just
just
buy us the Darth Vader, sir. So anyway, that stuff was announced on May the 4th. Also, real quick too, I noticed a whole bunch of extra Star Wars content popped up on Disney Plus that day. The one that really caught my eye was some fucking Simpsons Force Awakens short. Like, I haven't watched it yet. I don't know if you have.
I have not. I've seen bits of it like through different internet whatevers. I haven't actually spent any time to watch it.
Yeah.
cool, I guess. I mean, now let's face it. It's Disney is such a whore at this point. They own the Simpsons product now.
That's true.
And so now it's like, all right, let's take the longest running cartoon ever and incorporate some Star Wars shit into it. And because they need more money. Basically.
Oh, of course they do. Now, here's a question. Theoretically, don't they own Family Guy also? Because Family Guy was a Fox thing, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so for all intents and purposes, they should own Family Guy as well. Why aren't the fucking Family Guy Star Wars? Well,
I mean, Family Guy does a really good job of shitting on Disney.
True.
So that there may be a reason that they don't publicize that.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Anyway, anything else on the May the 4th announcements?
No, but before we it gets too far lost in the chat, we have a newbie in the chat today. We have Talia Kirby.
Oh,
is in the chat.
Well, welcome, Talia.
I'm assuming it's Talia. If I mispronounce that, it's Jason's fault. And please post in the chat how to pronounce it so I don't fuck it up again.
Yep.
So I certainly didn't do it deliberately. Unless it's funny, then yes.
Right.
Anyway.
So moving on, we have a segment on the show that we call This or That. Every week, our social media director puts up a poll on our Instagram.
Yes,
which
she's the best.
What are our Instagrams now, by the way, Dave?
At the Sidebar Cantina.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's our main.
That's our main one.
But we've got all kinds of other.
Yeah, but that's the main one.
Okay.
Just go with the main one.
All right. We'll go with that.
At the Sidebar Cantina.
Right. So anyway, she puts up a poll every week, gives you two options. You pick one. We go over the results here on the show.
Right.
And obviously, being a Star Wars themed episode, this is a Star Wars themed poll. So let's just get started. First one. Would you rather the countryside of Naboo or the city of Coruscant? I guess this is visit. So where would you rather hang out?
Naboo.
Yeah, see, I'm the opposite. I'm more of a Coruscant person because I like being around cities. I want to be close to where all the shit is. I can understand the appeal of being out in fucking wilderness and everything, but I also like internet connections and pizza places and museums and stuff.
But I'm going to assume that Elon Musk has Starlink enabled it in Naboo, and I'd be able to get a solid internet connection wherever I am on the planet. So I think I love the city, right? I'm a Philly guy, espouse the virtues of Philadelphia all the time, right? Hate New York, love Philly.
Right.
There's a point where being in the city, you can't appreciate like what's good about the city unless you actually get away from it for a little bit.
Sure.
That's why I'd rather vacation down the beach or up at a lake house. I'd reference our last this or that, right? Than vacation in the city. Like it's cool to spend the night there. It's like all this other stuff, and I'm really, really comfortable in the city. However, going out to the country makes me appreciate what I can have access to in the city that much more.
I could see that.
And you know what? It's fucking nice to just unplug. You know, even if you are out and there is no internet connection and anything else, just like, yeah, it's kind of nice.
Yeah. Now, in this poll, she has that obviously on Naboo where fucking Anakin and Padme are having their little fucking picnic, and there's all the waterfalls surrounding them on like all sides. I'm like, how has this not been fucking plundered and turned into some sort of a tourist resort at this point? And it might have been after the Empire rolled up.
It may have
with their 50% taxes and but yeah. Anyway, moving on. So the next one is, which would you rather fly? Oh, I'm sorry. And percentage wise, the Naboo won 67% to 33%.
Okay.
Moving on, which would you rather fly, the Millennium Falcon or a Star Destroyer? For me, this was Star Destroyer, no doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, the Millennium Falcon's faster, more maneuverable, but we've talked about it. Star Destroyers are fucking badass.
Yeah.
It's we called it the dick of the Empire before, right? It's the Empire just throwing their dick on the table and being like, what you got?
Yeah, it's just this giant trapezoid of fucking justice. The Millennium Falcon's cool. It has we're fans, obviously, but yeah, Empire all the way on that one.
Yeah, but unfortunately, we are in the minority because the Falcon won 76% to 24%.
Yeah, just fucking that's people riding the fucking popularity dick.
Indeed. Next one is X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. I mean, we obviously know what your answer is going to be. And yeah, I got to pick the TIE also. I think Hold on. We've got a visual.
This is the closest one.
This is for the YouTube audience.
Yeah, it's a Force Awakens tie, but it's still the fucking TIE fighter is the shit.
Oh, these things really move. So yeah, no, TIE fighters are better. They seem more maneuverable. Like
they are. And as somebody who has played, a lot of hours on the game I can't even think of the name of right now.
X-Wing versus TIE fighter.
No.
TIE fighter.
Well, I mean, the latest game.
Battlefront?
No, the fucking
Squadrons.
Squadrons, thank you. Fuck, Jesus.
Yeah, I'll just keep rattling off game names.
I've logged a lot of hours flying the TIE in various, from the fucking 5 1/4 floppies to all the way to what we have currently in Squadrons.
Mm-hmm.
X-Wing flies like a fucking pig, man. It just does. It needs shields and shit because it's like turning a goddamn boat. It's horrible.
Yeah.
I'll lose shields any day. I got.
Are you distracted?
I saw some staff meeting in the chat. And I'm like, what do we miss? What?
All right. So next one is mode of transportation: a tauntaun versus a bantha. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting to give the results. X-Wing won 62% to 38%. Go fuck yourselves.
Whatever. We're
in the minority of like all of these, by the way. But anyway, next mode of transportation: a tauntaun versus a bantha.
Tauntaun.
Yeah, like banthas are so fucking slow.
I could smell a bantha. Right now, if I just close my eyes and look at imagine a bantha, I know what that smells like.
Yeah.
Right. And tauntauns only smell bad on the inside.
Right. Exactly.
Right? So,
and they're much more maneuverable.
Yeah.
Like you watch them in Empire Strikes Back, and they're booking across that.
They're like ADHD fucking dinosaurs.
Yeah. It might freeze before you reach the first marker, but still.
I'll see you in hell.
Yeah. Okay, so and Tauntauns won 71% to 29%. Next, favorite forbidden couple. Satine and Obi-Wan, or Hera and Kanan.
I think I picked Hera and Kanan just because I have an infatuation with Twi'leks.
Right. I think I picked them too because I never got into the Satine and Obi-Wan couple thing. Right. It was
we
kind
never
of
really saw. It was so underground. Right.
Yeah.
It's like you kind of knew it was there, but now if they produced an offspring that we get to see at some point, maybe that it intrigued me a little bit more. But
right. Well, Satine's dead. I don't know if you remember that episode of Clone Wars.
Well, he probably already copulated that relationship. I mean,
okay.
But anyway, Kanan rolling around with a fucking Twi'lek, done, done deal.
Yeah, no, and it was much a better story told over the course of Rebels,
right?
Whereas really the Obi-Wan and Satine thing, that was like 2 episodes in Clone Wars, and then it was
don't get me wrong, it is intriguing. It does add an element of sadness to Obi-Wan's character, but Twi'leks.
Indeed.
All day.
But again, we were in the minority. Satine and Obi-Wan won 75% to 25%.
Whatever. No, you know what? I get it. I totally get it.
So which one scared the hell out of you as a child? Was it the Rancor or the Dianoga? The
periscope eye and the fucking
the tentacle in the trash compactor. For me personally, the tentacle in the trash compactor was a lot more scary because I've always like hated the thought of drowning and like fucking getting pulled underwater and like being held underwater. That like terrifies me. So I fucking hated that aspect. The Rancor I just thought looked cool as a kid. Now I remember being in the theater seeing him thinking like, oh fuck, how's Luke gonna get out of this?
Yeah.
But never like terrified.
I was
scared.
never afraid of the Rancor.
Yeah.
I was in the same boat. I thought it was cool. And then the Dianoga, not it didn't really affect me at all. E.T. E.T. fucking terrified me as a kid. Like
that's not an option here.
I know, but that's my answer.
All right, fair enough. Well, the Rancor won 72% to 28%. So this is actually a good one. We should have finished off with this one, but which spinoff are you looking more forward to? Obi-Wan Kenobi or Ahsoka?
Ahsoka.
Yeah, same. Because we've had this discussion multiple times over the course of our podcasts. What are they going to tell us in the Obi-Wan series that's going to mean anything or matter or that we even give a shit about, right?
Yeah.
Because he's fucking chilling on Tatooine. But Ahsoka, between her search for fucking Ezra and the shit with Thrawn and in the Mando universe,
there's so much that we don't know about what happened to Thrawn, what happened to Ezra. And
we don't even know what happens to Ahsoka. We don't know where she is in current canon. Like at the time of fucking Rey, she could be alive, she could be fucking dead. We don't know.
Yeah, it's way more intriguing to me, and I would probably be more on board with the Kenobi thing if I knew, like, hey, there was a novelization, this Kenobi novel that's, obviously not canon. It had good stories in it. It was one book. It had a good sequence of stories, and it was well told, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But to generate a series, and if you're going to do something along that same ilk, I think it'll be okay. But like for 4 or 5 episodes, it's short too, right? Isn't it only a 6-episode deal?
Yeah. It's very short.
So it's plausible that if they stuck to that type of thing, it could be good.
Yeah.
And you know what? To be honest, like, this isn't the fucking Inigo Montoya fucking. We're not making those comparisons here. Like, I will watch the Kenobi.
He's talking about the Diego Luna fucking
whatever
Rogue One spinoff.
Yeah. His name is Inigo Montoya.
Okay. Well, anyway, Obi-Wan won 75% to 25%, which is actually,
I'm surprised it's that big.
Yeah,
that big of a difference.
Because Ahsoka's got a pretty devout following at this point, and it only got better after Rosario Dawson appeared in Mandalorian. Yeah. But whatever.
All the nerdgasms.
All right, spinoff that needs to be written: Darth Bane or Darth Revan?
I went with Bane.
Yeah, I think I actually chose Revan, but this was fucking hard.
This was a tight one, man. But I think Bane at the end.
The Bane was a great story. It would perfectly fit into current canon as well. Like, nothing in the Bane story really conflicts with what's going on right now in Disney canon, which is good. And even really Revan too. But I mean, I think Revan is such an iconic character amongst the expanded universe.
I think that the problem with Revan is that because it plays both sides, then there's an aspect to it that I think would be really tough to do. Do it right. You know what I mean?
Right, because you're not going to please everybody.
And honestly, what I want out of my Star Wars universe going forward is something with some fucking bite to it. I want it to be dark.
Yeah.
You do a Bane trilogy, like, you're basically doing it like fucking, like The Dark Knight. Right? Yeah, it's good. Dark tones and fucking just evil.
I only work in black.
or what is it? Very dark gray.
Very, very dark gray.
Yeah, I 100% pour my energy into a Bane series, whatever that would look like.
Oh yeah, and I'd be totally down with that too. But I think if I had to choose between one, it's a tough choice. But I'd probably have to choose Revan, even though I love Bane, the Bane trilogy. Good shit.
That's fair.
More people agreed with me. 76% for Revan versus 24%.
Well, the chat seems to go with Bane, so the chat wins.
Yep. All right. Who is Grogu? Is he Yoda's love child, or there is another dad?
There is another dad, I think, is what I went with.
I think I chose that as well, only because it's too obvious for him to be Yoda's kid.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like they're an entire species. It's not like,
to say
they're all related.
Yeah. There's only 2 that we ever see. Although all the Redanians are Redanians, right? They're all Greedos running around.
Sure.
I don't know.
Goddamn Rodanians.
Go back to your planet.
All right. And the last one, which one is a better pet? The Loth cat or the Loth wolf? I forgot there was one of each. We had Loth cats and Loth wolves, and they were both in Rebels, I believe.
Yeah.
So I picked the wolves. I thought the wolves were badass. The cats were just kind of annoying. And I hate cats in general.
I forget which one. I probably went with the wolf.
Yeah. So, but that's that. So
who won?
The wolf, 70% to 30%. Did I say the results for the one before that? It was 65% thought Grogu was from another father. So, and that is this or that. So thank you again to our social media director, Luna Girl, and go to @the Sidebar Cantina on Instagram. Follow us there, and you can take part in these polls.
Yes. You can also find us on Facebook.
We are on Facebook
at the Sidebar Cantina.
Yeah, in the private Facebook group. We're in there. If you want to connect with us on a more personal level. I feel like I'm the only person that posts in there sometimes, though. So I need more people to post in there so I don't feel like I'm just talking to myself.
I post frequently, and so does our friends from the Escape Pod, and,
All right,
and
fair
Lunar Girl posts in there. It's not just you.
Okay. Fair enough.
I know that because honestly, on Facebook, that's the only place I go is the Sidebar Cantina.
Yeah.
Like, I don't look at anything else, and people have been calling me out for not fucking looking at shit. I'm like, you know what? Don't need to be on the drama book.
Yeah.
I'd rather just post something funny in the cantina for 100 of my closest friends to enjoy, and then that's it. That's all I need. I don't
Most
need
social
validation.
media is cancer anyway.
Yeah,
so
fuck, it's actually been kind of refreshing to be away from it.
what was I reading recently? Fuck.
Is this a sidebar?
This is a sidebar. Something about a company that was hiring and they wanted like access to every. Oh, no. So there's this Magic the Gathering community, right? You're familiar with Magic the Gathering, the collectible card game.
Yes.
There's a community out there that is based strictly on the making money off of the game.
Okay.
Because cards in this game are fucking valuable and prices fluctuate. They fluctuate more than fucking cryptocurrency, right? And if you play the market right, you can actually make a lot of money on fucking Magic the Gathering. So there's this private group. They have like a private Facebook group and a private Discord, right? That you can join to be part of it. And there's like a membership fee and all that. And they also have a podcast connected to it. And I'm listening to the podcast and, they're talking about like the vetting process. They don't just like let anybody in. They want access to your social media and they want to make sure that you're not like some like shitbag who's just posting all kinds of degenerate shit on social media. And I'm just like, wow, that's like, so if I roll in there and I'd be like, I don't have a Twitter because Twitter is fucking cancer.
Right.
Like, are they going to not let me in? Because it's also a lot of far lefties in this group. So, I would imagine if they found out I did not vote the way that they would have preferred in 2016 and 2020, they probably wouldn't have let me in.
Probably not.
So, but I mean, that's kind of the world we've come to at this point.
That's why anything that you put out on social media, you have to be willing to, fall on that sword if it comes down to it.
Yeah. And it sucks that it is that way. And it's one of the reasons why I deleted my Twitter and why I don't really post anything on Facebook when it comes to politics or anything like that, because I just don't want, that shit to be held against me.
Right. Exactly. Especially with security clearances, because they're going to be digging around in fucking security clearances more on social media.
Indeed. Anyway, are we ready to get into our weeks?
Yes.
All right. So we talked about it for over a month leading into the last episode, and I finally got to Vegas. So Kristen and I, we went on our Vegas trip. We were there for 5 days-ish, and it was a blast. It was incredible. Had a great time. We're fucking exhausted by the end. Mm-hmm. Absolutely exhausted. And I mean, it would take me an entire episode of the podcast to talk about everything we did. If you're friends with me on Facebook, I know several people who are listening and in the chat right now are. You'll see a lot of the pictures that I posted. We did so much. I feel like we almost overbooked ourselves, honestly, because we booked shows, we booked fucking like amusement rides, we booked specific dinners, to the point where we had a very structured week. There was very little flex time.
The spreadsheet.
Yeah. Talk about Kristen and her spreadsheet. So, there was not a lot of time to just like chill at the pool in the hotel or just like, oh, we'll just go hang out in the casino for a while and gamble for a little bit. No, it was a very structured week. It was good because we did a lot of shit. But yeah, by the end, I was fucking worn the hell out. And it's one of those vacations where it's like, oh, I can't wait to get home and get some sleep,
Right. That vacation from your vacation.
Right. So, but I mean, overall, it was great. And I got to say, parts of Vegas really feel like they've lost that Vegas mystique because especially when you go to the new strip. Now, the old strip, that's a whole other story. The Fremont Street.
Right.
I thought that was a fantastic atmosphere. But talking about like the new strip and the area that we were in, the Bellagio, Caesars, the Venetian, the Paris, all of that, it basically just, it feels like they're not even being subtle about it. They're just out to get your money, period.
Right.
And there's no subtlety to it. There's no like, oh, come, big dreams and gambling. No, just bring us your money. Just come on, we'll let you stay here, but just hand over all your money now,
Right.
and we're gonna nickel and dime you for everything, and you're gonna like it. So I really felt that way, especially in the area of the old strip. Super expensive, a lot of money sinks, but going to the old strip, the Fremont Street,
Right.
that was fun. That feels like that's where the young people go now, because there was one part towards the end where we were doing the zip lining, where there's like a bar with a balcony, and these girls were doing fucking shots because this girl was turning 21, and there was a DJ up there, and it was like, oh, we're all gonna take shots for this fucking girl who's turning 21 today, and it's like, woo! And that it seemed like Fremont Street was where the parties were,
because it's cheaper. You can go down there,
True.
you can drink, you can hang out. Everything's kind of close.
Yeah,
it's not like you're fucking walking 6 miles to get from one end of it to the other.
Yep.
And it's undercover. You know, it has a very kind of bar crawly vibe to it.
Yeah.
Whereas the main strip, you know, crawl at your own risk, really.
Right.
You know, because you're gonna get run over by a car or get slapped in the face by the fucking card slappers, which we forgot to fucking talk about.
Well, I gotta say, I don't know if it's because of COVID or if the city has just cleaned them up, but they weren't really out.
So I remember one of the first times I went to Vegas, like it was inundated with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were everywhere.
Oh yeah, every corner, slap.
Yeah, and then it'd be all in the fucking street and the
trash,
yeah,
people throwing them on the ground.
Else. And then a bit later, like they were cracking down on it, so you didn't see it as much. So then they were like reverting to flyers. Like they were still out there, but it wasn't a slap.
Mm-hmm.
Then one of the last times I was there, they were back.
Oh, okay.
Not as prolific as they were before, but they were back, and it was just like, this is what
yeah,
this is what I expect.
Yeah, no, I think they've really cracked down on them again, because there were none of them. But again, a lot of that could have to do with COVID, because nobody, especially during a pandemic, you don't want some fucking laminated plastic card that some guy has been holding in his hands trying to give to everybody that walks by.
Yeah, if they had gloves on and were properly vaccinated.
Somehow I doubt that. But overall, great trip to Vegas. Really looking forward to going back, because there's tons of stuff that we didn't get to do while we were there. We did do a couple of the thrill rides on the top of the stratosphere. Mm-hmm. If you're friends with me on Facebook, again, posted a video of me doing the sky shot, which is the fucking free fall thing where you're at the top of the fucking stratosphere and then it shoots you up the needle in this like free fall ride that goes up and down. It's the greatest video in the world, because I'm there. I'm the only person on the fucking ride.
Yep.
And Kristen's taking a video and I'm like, oh fuck. Because what you don't see in that video is that we're at the top of the fucking stratosphere. We're already like 1,080 feet in the air, and I'm looking out over the strip. We're like really fucking high, just exposed to the outside world. And I'm strapped to this thing that's about to shoot me up another 100 feet or something like that. And I'm like, fuck. And then it shoots me up, and all you hear me is go, shit.
Yeah, it just goes, shit. It goes off fucking mic. Yeah, it was fucking great.
Yeah.
So my sister-in-law was in Vegas like a week before you were.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They got home like basically the day you left. And my sister-in-law's fiance did that fall off the side, that controlled descent fall.
And I wanted to do that, but it was $130 and we didn't really have the time.
Yeah. Well, they both paid for it. He's the only one who did it. Apparently, like you pay, like if you decide you're not going to go, you're out. Sorry. Yeah. And
we still got your money.
Yeah, my sister-in-law chickened out, and apparently they did like a whole thing on video where it's like, hey, here's this chicken, blah blah blah, and she's like, yep. I also
no regrets.
I did not jump off this fucking thing, so thank you very much.
Oh yeah, no, when you're up there and you're looking down, like we were right by the spot where they jump off,
right.
And I'm like getting nervous, just like going over to the edge to look at the fucking window, like fuck. I couldn't imagine being exposed to the air and just being like. And I just jump, huh? Okay.
Yeah. No, so we were supposed to talk about this the last episode, but so did I talk about Bob Kelly? So
it sounds familiar.
So we were in Auckland, New Zealand, right? And there's a tower very similar to the stratosphere or the Space Needle. It's basically the same type of structure. It's in the middle of Auckland, New Zealand. And we were in the tower for some part of this conference that we're out there for. And they were having drinks and food and everything else. And I was fucked up. I was already drunk when I fucking got into the building. Right. And it's just supposed to be like there's people, the people we kind of travel around with, on in the old unit. And you get in the elevator had a glass floor. So you're basically looking down the elevator shaft as you're going up. And I'm like I said, I'm fucked up. I was like, whoa, oh my God. Right. So we go up to the top and we're up there. We're kind of milling around and we could see the people that are doing that fucking free fall thing, like off the side.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just watching like kind of out the windows, like you're talking about, because you look down, because the way the structure's built, right? You can look down the windows and you're basically looking straight down into the city.
Yep.
And people are doing this and they were doing it like night. Like, and so I'm like, yeah, that's a whole big can of note for me. Yeah. And we had a good time in New Zealand. Like we had a week in New Zealand and it was a fucking blast. And Bob had said, hey, if we can stay another night, like I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. We're like, oh yeah. He's like, yeah, if we stay an extra night, I'm going to do it. Right. Which he didn't. He checked out. Like we actually did stay an extra night. Yeah. And yeah, he didn't do it. But they had a giant fucking target, like a bullseye thing on the ground where you were falling. So I just have this imagine this cartoon of the fucking thing just never breaking. And here you are at terminal velocity going into a fucking bullseye. Like that's
pretty funny. So anyway, I'll probably talk about it more as time goes on, but yeah, it would fill a whole episode to talk about everything we did in Vegas, but it was a good time.
We should have showed your video on the thing.
Oh, we should have. Yeah, too late now.
Maybe for the post show.
Yep. So the only other thing I had for this week was in a very surprising move. I'm sure you and everybody else in the audience have now heard about the CDC's recommendations as far as masks go for vaccinated people, which is good. It's a great step in the right direction. I'm really ready to get back to like 100% normal. Jersey, of course, they're not adopting these CDC mask guidelines yet if you're vaccinated because it's Jersey. And I get it. We were like one of the worst states for a while. So whatever. But I'm going out to California the end of June. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be back like July 7th. If this fucking New Jersey mask mandate is still in for vaccinated people when I get back from that fucking trip, then I'm going to get kicked out of a lot of establishments and I'm probably going to get a lot of LOCs because I ain't doing these fucking masks anymore come July. If this shit ain't lifted by July, it's lifted for me no matter what.
Yeah, there's what did I hear? Somebody call it the People's Republic in New Jersey. It's I get it. They want to be smart with it. I think there is some this is a fucking election year. Mm-hmm. So I think there's some games being played with that. Look, there's a lot of the whole thing with the masks and the vaccinations and like blah, 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 blah. And it kind of back and forth with that. And I'm like, for me personally, I don't go into stores anyway, but if that store tells me I have to wear a mask to be in there, all right, whatever. I don't at this point, I don't really give a shit. Mm. But for me, I want to be able to walk around out in the fucking air and not have to worry about that shit. Right. And being at work was one of those places where, because it was a federal installation, it was complete lockdown, no matter what, unless you were in your own fucking office with fucking walls all the way up and a closed door. Yep. You had to sit in your office with a fucking mask on. And the majority of the people in the military, or at least around us, are vaccinated. So we're sitting there and it's like, this is the shit. And then when I'm walking in my car, I have to wear a mask. I'm like, come on, guy. Like outside with good airflow and everything else. Like, come on, we're not doing we're not tied at the ankles doing some fucking goofy race. Mm-hmm. Let's have some common sense. So when these things lifted, like immediately the DoD was on board with that. Like, yep, okay, boom. Let's go ahead and, if you're fully vaccinated, boom, you can basically do whatever you want. Now, how in all these scenarios where you have the fully vaccinated and the not, like how are you possibly going to police something like that?
So here's my thing. At this point, that's a personal decision. If you're not vaccinated and you don't want to wear a mask, fuck it. If you get sick, then that's on you. Yeah. We're this whole like nanny state that we've been in where, the government knows better and you can't do this. It's like, come on, like there's a thing called personal responsibility. And if people choose to take these risks, then that's on them. Fuck them.
When you get to a point where with the herd immunity, I think, a big part of the problem too is for people, like, I know we've talked about it where we're on board, like, yeah, fucking wear masks. We had COVID. Fuck that. We don't want it.
Yeah. But I'm vaccinated now, so I don't give a shit.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think you need to, the CDC, the way they kind of walked back on this, I think has a lot of people going like, what? I mean, how do you flip the switch so quickly? I mean, yeah, we're ready for it and everything else, but like, give us a reasonable explanation of like why the other stuff made sense and why we're supposed to believe you in that scenario. When something else happens, you're like, well, wait a minute. Now we have precedents, right? It's like anything else. We're human beings. If we know something that was done a certain way before, we're going to lean towards that because, hey, we survived through that, right?
Sure.
So now that there's this precedence, like, what are you going to do the next time? Is it going to be the same?
Right.
And I think you'd have a really tough time justifying it.
And honestly, I think a lot of this is politics. Unfortunately, there's a lot of political motivations on either side for either pushing for or pushing against the masks and all the precautions and everything else. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist, but I'm sure that people have been using it to their advantage on one side or the other.
Yeah.
Right.
Listen, I think the moral of this story is, for me anyway, it was, I'm going to get vaccinated and I'm going to wear a mask where I feel like it's appropriate.
Yeah.
But, and honestly, in a lot of those places where it probably would be appropriate, I'm not going to go anyway because I don't like crowds. I don't like, that's not an environment I'm comfortable in anyway. So this gives me a really good reason to not do it.
Yep. So, but that's that. If, like I said, if Jersey still has a mask mandate for the vaccinated come July, then I'm going to have a serious problem on my hand.
We're going to follow Jason around with a video camera and wait for him to be on the news.
Yeah. So I'll get kicked out of many establishments, I'm sure. So anyway, that was my week in a nutshell. What about you?
So as alluded to earlier with the toast, obviously it's been a pretty sad week. I'm exhausted. I drove back and forth to State College, bringing my daughter back and forth for the funeral stuff.
And remind us how long of a drive that is again?
It's about 4 hours.
Oof. One way.
So, and rather than me fucking doing the round robin in one day, like, I'm just getting too old for that. 8 hours round trip.
It's a long time.
It's ripe for danger. So I drove up, crashed on our couch. We got up first thing in the morning, came back, and then basically did the same thing after the funeral and the luncheon on Wednesday, drove her back, crashed on our couch, and then drove home on Thursday. So by the time Friday rolled around, it was all kind of catching up to me, right? All the just the physical and emotional exhaustion was starting to like hit Friday, Saturday. But it's been so nice. The weather has been so fucking nice. I feel like even though I've been exhausted, I have to go out. Like I did some drone flying. If you follow my Instagram,
I did see that. Yeah.
I do post a little bit on Instagram at PhillyDave75, and I driving back and forth. The drive I like to take to State College, because there's a couple different ways you can go. It's about the same timing wise, but I like to go, basically the other side of Harrisburg, take 322 up, which means I drive by this Statue of Liberty that's in the Susquehanna River. And it's something that Liam, back in the day when we were doing pattern work in Harrisburg, he pointed it out to me like at one point. And after that, it was kind of like always piqued my interest. And now that I drive by it all the time, I'm like coming home from this and just thinking about like that sense of like, I keep saying I'm going to do this. I'm just going to fucking do it. I have nowhere else to be today. I'm just going to fucking do it. And, so yeah, I fucking navigated around, found the spot to fly it. It wasn't an easy flight, honestly, because it was super windy on the river, and it was like probably the furthest away from me that I've ever flown the drone. Oh, so because where it's situated in the river, it's not like the bank that it's closest to is like fucking straight highway. Unless you're in a fucking kayak, there's no real way to get to it that way. And if you're on a kayak, there's no real way to stay put because the fucking river is moving. Right. So I found a little beach area on the other side and had to fly it like, total flight, like in that flying around and everything, I flew over 1.5 miles.
God damn.
So it was,
and it goes that far, huh?
It'll
Away
go that
from you?
far. Yeah. Well, it went. It's what fucking. I think it was like 3,500 feet away from me. And then did some rotations and had to fly back. Jess was running out of battery as I was coming back, so it worked out really well. But yeah, it's just stuff like that, where it's like I keep driving by, I keep saying I'm going to stop. You know what? I'm going to stop today. I'm going to take pictures. I'm going to fly the drone, do shit like that because reasons. So Saturday, that was Thursday. Friday was kind of a waste. Like I said, I was exhausted. Saturday, forced myself to go outside because again, it's fucking beautiful out. And I power washed the deck. We talked about power washing on the last episode. So the weather was decent enough where I'm like, you know what, I want to power wash the deck because I want to stain it. Because it's old. I don't even know when I built it at this point. I think it was when my son was graduating high school. So that was probably it was a while ago.
Yeah.
So it did the power washing, and then yesterday put the stain on it. It fucking looks great. It's fucking brutal work.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was so by the end of it, by last night and even today, I'm like just fucking exhausted. So that was pretty much it. Like it was nice to be outside, honestly.
Yeah. Weather's been really good lately.
Yeah, it's super nice right now. It's warm. Like right now, it's almost 80, and the rest of the week.
Sure, I understand.
I don't know how to respond to that. Yeah, it's gonna be in the 90s at the end of the week.
Holy fuck!
It's gonna be like 93 on Saturday. Something
damn.
like that. Yeah. So
I love how New Jersey just doesn't give us any like time to kind of get used to the warmer weather. They're like cold, rainy, 90.
Super nice. Then back to cold, rainy. Then like fucking summer.
Yeah.
Like
there
August.
You go.
Like here's August for you. Have fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, make sure your AC is working, kids.
Indeed.
That's it. That's all I have.
All right. Fair enough. So
IBOG was in the chat for half a minute.
Oh shit. Well, of course, then you started talking and he's out.
Exactly.
So. Do we need to take a break or do you want to just keep pressing?
I'm ready. I'm good.
All right,
I could use ice.
Hold on. Let me text the ice winch and see if we can get some more ice out here.
While we're on it,
That's good. This way, truncated silence won't take out any of this.
Exactly.
All right.
Well, it wouldn't take it out anyway because the fucking train going by and
oh yeah, at all the worst times too. Anyway, moving on. The Bad Batch. So, Clone Wars Season 8 appeared on May the 4th of this year. It's so funny, too, because leading up to this, all the memes were going around. The best one was the Scooby-Doo meme, right? Where it's like, let's find out who you really are.
Right.
And they pull the mask off of the Bad Batch, and it's Clone Wars Season 8.
Right.
Right. So... And they made no bones about that in these first 5 minutes of the first episode of the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Because we got everything, including the voice man.
Separatists pushed to the brink. Republic forces continue to mount victories on battlefields across the galaxy. After the Jedi Knights thwarted an attempt to kidnap Chancellor Palpatine, the evil droid General Grievous retreated to the Outer Rim. With his legions of battle droids severely depleted, Grievous mounts a desperate and brutal counterattack across several star systems. We find Republic clone troopers locked in deadly combat on a besieged world of Collar, led by Jedi Master Depa Billaba. Something.
It sounds ridiculous no matter how you say it.
Depa.
Yeah.
They struggle to hold their position as they wait for reinforcements to arrive.
Yeah. So this was how this first episode started. It started exactly like an episode of the Clone Wars. Yeah. And
before we even got to that.
Hold on. We got to pause for ice. Oh, very inconspicuous ice delivery. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What's going on? What the fuck?
I don't know what to make of these.
Taste the rainbow.
They're just normal ice cubes. They're reusable.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Don't forget about the peanut butter squares.
Oh yeah, we got dessert coming too.
I will not.
Call that one a sweet.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wonder what Booze is going to do to these ice things.
I don't think that they're actual ice. I heard popping. I think they're reusable
Right.
ice cubes, so they're like plastic that you can freeze. I don't know.
Right. Well, the
I don't know
problem
what's
is
going
I use the ice to dilute my beverage.
on. Right.
So
Yeah,
This'll
you
be
can take
fun.
some out of the cooler if you want.
yeah, give me that.
Riveting for the audience, I know.
Hey, whatever. Somebody can edit that shit out.
That somebody is me.
You can take out this cooler. You can take off the tag off of this cooler.
Well, I mean, what would be the point of that?
I don't know. To not have the tag dangling around in there.
Anyway.
Dave needs to read the opening crawl to episode 3 like that.
Oh, yeah. So anyway,
I could do that.
can we get back to the topic at hand?
No.
So the awesome thing was that it started off too with the Clone Wars logo,
Right.
right? And then it burns away to see the
Yes.
Bad Batch underneath
Yeah,
it.
that's what I was going to mention. Like before the Ice Wench came, that I thought that was really cool. Like, I think it kind of forecasts a little bit like what we're getting. Like I saw that image and I'm like, you know, it immediately took away some of the campiness that I was expecting, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Like for some reason, like something as simple as a graphic like that, it was like it's like a violent change. You know, if you light something on fire and it burns away, that's kind of a violent change. It's not like you know, a Rambo or an A-Team introduction, right? It's like
right.
this is something that's changing. So it immediately look, like you said, I went into this with a lot of consternation because I did not enjoy the Bad Batch characters.
Right, because you talk
in the
about
Clone
camp.
Wars.
Yeah, you talk about campiness. That last season of the Clone Wars, those first couple episodes that were centered around the Bad Batch, they were a little silly, you know,
Silly.
because based on the characters and everything else.
The Rambo bullshit, like
You got to let the Rambo thing go, man.
I can't.
That's
even-
such a small thing for you to dwell
Oh
on.
my
Is that red
God.
headband that Hunter wears?
the red headband, the hair, the fucking. How do you hide in plain sight when you're fucking half your face is tattooed like that? Like Mike Tyson going into someplace and trying to be like, I'm avoiding people.
he wears a helmet. But yeah, that's
Except for when they're trying to hide in episode 3. Anyway, good, we'll get there.
right. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, that's such a weird thing for you to focus on, but whatever. Now, did you notice too? So as we were watching The Mandalorian,
Right.
the first couple of seasons, it started with that new Star Wars intro with the helmets that would flash, right?
Yes.
Those like CG helmets, the
Mhm.
chrome helmets that like the light would go across. Really fucking awesome intro that they
Yeah.
started with The Mandalorian. And it was a whole new sequence for the Bad Batch. It was a new version of that intro.
Yeah.
Did you notice that it was all new shit?
Yeah.
Because I watched it in slow-mo and it was like Grievous, an X-Wing pilot. I'm pretty sure the droid was Chopper from Rebels.
Oh, I should have slowed it down.
Yeah, I paused it on every single one, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's Chopper. There was a clone helmet, the super battle droids, like not the normal battle droids, but the ones that we've seen in more recent canon that have the smaller heads,
Mhm.
but they're more elite. The fucking cadet helmet from Rebels that Ezra would wear, the fucking Sabine's helmet, and then of course it finished with the TIE pilot helmet.
Because
so
it's the best.
right. So, but yeah, no, it was a completely new intro, but still really, really awesome the way they do that.
But with the same like music.
Yeah, the
and
same
stuff,
music
like,
and the same presentation.
It's subtle. It's subtle, and I like that.
Yeah.
I like those little subtleties.
Yeah. So I'll be watching for that every time. Like every time a new show starts, like Mandalorian season 3. I'm curious if they'll do that one or if they'll introduce something new, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think this was such a good way to transition from Clone Wars to Bad Batch. And like you said, they really kind of let us know what to expect at this point, because with the burning away, very symbolic, and it was pretty serious. Like this first episode. And first of all, this first episode was long as shit. It was like an hour and 10.
Hour and 15, something like that.
Yeah.
Like 75 minutes.
Really, really long, but most of it was good. There was
That's what she said.
There was a point where it kind of got a little bit slow towards the like halfway point where they were putting them through like this training simulation and all this other shit. But I mean, it picks up right at the end of the Clone Wars, basically, where it mentions that Obi-Wan has engaged General Grievous in combat, and they're on some fucking snowy planet helping another group of clones. And of course,
yeah, that's the Caller, whatever.
Yeah, we get our first major cameo in this.
Yeah,
which I was not expecting, but we see Caleb, aka Young Kanan,
right,
in this from Rebels, voiced again by Freddie Prinze Jr.
And that's what tipped me off to it. Like I didn't like the Caleb. I should have keyed into that because I've read the novelization for the stuff going into Rebels and everything else, but it was the voice. Yeah, it was hearing his voice. I'm like, oh shit, that's who that is.
Yeah, that's Kanan.
Right? I'm like, fuck. And I rewatched. So I watched this when it came out because we were going to do the pod on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I rewatched it again today. I like kind of had it on while I was working, and there were parts of it that when it was happening, I realized that there's again changing my expectations of what I thought this show was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's this. Not only are we talking about this change, but by bringing in something like that, even though it's something so small and it's a little piece of something we already know the story to.
It's so small.
Penis, so small. It's, I don't know. I like that. Obviously Dave Filoni joint, right? So,
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, this is all Dave Filoni's brainchild.
Yeah, so there's like, so making things connect into what we're watching, and then realizing that. And I think we talked about this when they first talked about they were doing the Bad Batch. Like this is going to be the point of view of somebody like after Order 66 that is like wondering what the fuck is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the clones suddenly turn and some of them are like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And I guess you need to have the Bad Batch episodes in season 7 to like have these deformed clones that aren't necessarily as reactive to their programming.
Right. Cause they're in the fucking shit.
Yeah.
But they're not part of the brainwashed clones at that point.
So their inhibitor chips aren't as effective as they are in the regs.
Yeah.
For the other clones.
So you can see it from their perspective.
Yeah. And I that's exactly what I wanted from this.
Right. And for me, like the first 45 minutes or so of this episode was fucking perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Where you see all of the events from Revenge of the Sith that transpire from their point of view.
Yeah.
Right. You see the clones fucking turn on the Jedi. And then of course you get the Caleb / Kanan inject in there where that was just a beautiful piece because we're very familiar with him and where he ends up. But we don't really know a lot of his origins. So, and then of course, as all of this stuff is transpiring, the Order 66 happens, and then fucking Palpatine doing his fucking speech, making the Empire. They're kind of off to the side watching like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Even they go back. Well, what I thought was cool is they went back to, I almost said chlamydia.
Back to chlamydia.
Back to chlamydia.
I'm back here again. God damn it.
Damn it. Here's a shot.
Camino.
They went back to Camino like that was their home port.
Yeah.
And me personally, I never viewed Camino as someplace where the clones were going to be chilling out.
Right.
Like that they had like a home base. Right. So with this like Clone Force 99 or Squad 99 as the Communions were calling them.
Mm-hmm.
It's they're all right. Their home is there and they go out on missions from that place.
Right.
Hence why they have a fucking pimped out fucking starship and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And there some campiness in there, but
of course.
I liked the interaction with the regs, like noticing immediately that the Coruscant guard was there.
Yeah.
Like showing the reds.
The shock troopers. Yeah.
And just them walking around going like, what the fuck is going on around here?
Mm-hmm.
And then going into formation and doing that stuff. I really enjoyed that perspective.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see that this is what they're building on, honestly.
And we get all this other extra shit too, where Tarkin shows up. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So this is right after Palpatine declares, the new galactic empire.
Yeah.
For a safe and secure society.
Right.
And Tarkin immediately shows up on Camino.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how like crazy like all of the canon and everything has been. Like I'm watching this and I had this like 5-second moment of confusion when Tarkin shows up on Camino. I'm like, did they clone him? Because he died on the Death Star. And then I'm like, wait, this is before that. So yeah, I had this moment where I'm like scratching my head, like, wait, is that a clone of Tarkin? What the fuck is going on?
When Tarkin showed up, I'm like, God damn, the guy who does the voice for Tarkin is so good.
And that guy is the guy that did the voice in Rogue One for the CG Tarkin.
Is it?
Yeah, they got the same guy that did the voice for Tarkin in Clone Wars and Rebels, and I'm assuming it's the same guy in Bad Batch to do that voice for Tarkin.
Yeah, it was
in Rogue One.
The voice work is phenomenal.
Yeah,
and that like it nails Tarkin.
Mm-hmm.
Like the mannerisms, talking to the Prime Minister, and the other stuff, and it's 100% believable. Like what we're doing right now with the Bad Batch, campiness, what the little of it that there is, right? What we're doing right now is like we're talking about how we went from clones to Stormtroopers.
Yes. And that's the most interesting part of this whole series.
Yeah.
I think so far.
Yeah. I think that what are we going to get from this series? It has nothing to do with these 5 clones, right? Although Omega might play a bigger role in
Omega. I'm Omega.
Jason obviously doesn't like Omega.
We'll get into that.
Hey, you know what? Kiwi voice actors need work too. I'm just saying. Anyway, I lost my fucking train of thought.
The transition from clones to Stormtroopers.
Yes, the Clone Force 99 obviously doesn't really have much impact later on in the timeline.
Right.
But this transition from clones to Stormtroopers has always been one of those, like, kind of, we have an idea what happened. Like, we know that conscripted service, there was at some point where there was enhanced clones that they were working on that just never panned out. I'm pretty sure that's canon. Like, I know it was an expanded universe. Like, those two walls are starting to kind of overlap each other.
Well, even like the Republic Commandos, like we've seen them in the Clone Wars, like in the background, so we know they exist. But the Republic Commando books are no longer canon.
Yeah, so there's a weird thing there. But I think what we're seeing is this is going to be the straight transition. Like, hey, let's use clones. Like you have Crosshair. Right, we're going to basically make him into, for lack of a better term, a clone TI, right?
Yeah,
like his job is going to be to lead conscripts.
Yep.
But he's a clone, but he obviously is not.
Obvious because he's one of the original Bad Batch,
right?
And that was the thing too. When Tarkin gets to Camino, he's talking to Lama Su and the other fucking chick. For the Kaminoans who make the clones, and they're talking about the contract, and they're like, "Hey, asshole, we got this contract with the Republic that we're going to keep making troopers." And he's like, "The Republic doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
We're the Empire now, and now I'm going to determine whether or not we're going to continue this program, or I'm going to go with conscripted fucking soldiers." Which I wrote down this quote from the fucking the Chancellor of Camino. The skill level and efficiency of our clones is far superior to that of any recruited body. Which, I mean, you think about the Stormtroopers and the joke about how Stormtroopers can't fucking hit anything, how they all fucking suck. Whereas you watch the clones in the Clone Wars and the movies and everything, and they're, a lot better.
Yeah, so they're trained from birth to do this.
Yeah.
And hence why you could imagine with the First Order, right? Let's go back to getting them really, really young.
Yep.
And fucking developing them as soldiers because they'll have those traits as opposed to just somebody that fucking walks in off the street.
Mm-hmm.
That's thinking for themselves, because in episode 2 or 3 was the one where the fucking they have the soldiers that show up and Crosshair takes them out on that mission against Ferrer's camp.
Yep.
Yeah. And then one of them's like, "No, we don't fucking kill kids. What the hell?" It's like, "Oh yeah, we do." Peek.
Mm-hmm.
And you're fucking dead. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Hopefully you've watched these at this point.
Yeah, it's Monday, people. They came out on Friday.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a very interesting dynamic that's going on between Tarkin and the administrators of Camino. But this is something that's only been, like you said, very briefly touched on in current canon, even in Legends.
Right.
Really not that that widely talked about how the transition happened from clones to conscripted soldiers, to the point where there was a period of time after Revenge of the Sith came out where a lot of people were convinced that the stormtroopers that we saw in episodes 4, 5, and 6 were still clones.
Right.
Because we never got that. We never got that confirmation.
Right.
That, like, are they still using clones? Are most stormtroopers actually clones?
Well,
What's the
fools
deal?
like us that were doing fucking Star Wars podcasts for like 3+ years, or you're leaving us to come up with something to explain it, right?
Right.
Just like, why does gravity work in some areas of Star Wars and not others?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
all right, we're going to try and make that work here somehow.
Right.
But yeah, that was a popular theory. Like, yeah, well, these clones aged. They're designed to age quickly, so they age prematurely, and when you're older, your eyesight sucks. You can't aim as well.
Sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't explain height differences and shit like that, but
right. And of course, like, as we're going through these first few episodes of the Bad Batch, you can see they're still making the clones. Like, there's a scene where fucking Tarkin and the Kaminoans are walking through, and they're still the fucking babies in the fucking incubators.
Yeah, the Matrix scene.
Yeah, basically. And yeah, they're still making them. You see, like, the fucking kids walking around, like the young Boba Fett age kids walking around. So they're still like churning them out until the Empire says stop.
Right.
So, and I'm assuming that's the main story that's going to get told over the course of these 12 episodes of the Bad Batch. Is, you know, they're going to kind of put the bow on how they terminated that contract with the Kaminoans, and really what happened to all the fucking clones too. Because you got to think, we've got millions of fucking clones out there right now. Like, do they just bring them all into a big room and just like fucking blow the room up? Something's got to happen to all of these fucking clones.
Yeah.
Because we know, like Rex, he makes it all the way to Return of the Jedi.
Right.
So if they just release all these clones out into the wild, they could all still be alive, at least up to the point of Return of the Jedi.
Which we know is, honestly, they could fucking have them on troop ships and to fucking just fly themselves into suns. Sure. It doesn't necessarily have to be that difficult. Or you like, okay, hey, you're going to go. We need you to go take this planet, and they run straight into a fucking ambush, or they crash a moon into the planet or something. I mean, we've seen that before.
Yeah, in Legends, but not
in Legends.
Yeah, that's how you kill a Wookiee, is by crashing a moon into a planet. But I digress. Okay, so let's talk about Omega.
Yeah.
Omega, my name is Omega. I don't like the character.
Okay.
I know we
picked
have
up on that.
I know we have some of our followers who are big fans of Omega already. I don't know. Maybe it's just this thing I have with kids in fucking shows,
right?
Where they're just immediately annoying. Like, think about Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as Ahsoka was introduced in the Clone Wars, I fucking hated her.
Right.
Like, just this immature kid, just fucking annoying. Just go away, And Omega was that right off the bat. She's like right in our fucking faces, like, "Oh, I'm Omega. I love you. You're the Bad Batch," and her fucking annoying ass accent. And then, of course, the revelation that she is a clone. Also, she's also
that wasn't a revelation. You knew it right away.
I didn't until.
What did you think she was?
I'm just like, some fucking little bitch that they brought in to help with the medical bay. Like, I don't know. I don't know who she fucking is, but by the end of this first episode, Tech reveals like, oh yeah, she's a clone too.
No, it's for me, I didn't need that reveal. I knew it straight away because there's similarities in the facial structure, eye color, all that other stuff, like the skin tone. Obviously, she's fucking from New Zealand, because she has that Kiwi accent. It's a little bit more exaggerated.
Yeah, a little bit? You think it's a little bit exaggerated?
Anyway, I don't hate it. I don't hate listening to it. Because here's what she means for me, right? The Kaminoans were obviously working on something else, right? They had Clone Force 99. Like, that wasn't part of the original contract. But they've been genetically engineering clones to figure out what they can do, right?
Sure.
So if you genetically engineer a female clone, what's a female clone going to be able to do?
Give birth?
Reproduce, right?
Okay.
So now if you have you're producing females to go along with the males, in theory, you could have a whole secondary line of fighters in that. Like if you're the Kaminoans, right? And why would you make a female clone?
Well,
Right.
see, that's where my issue is. You can't clone a man and make a fucking woman.
I beg to differ. Genetically, I'm 100% believe you could do it.
Well, I'm not a
dish-
fucking scientist.
In a petri dish, you absolutely could do it.
Can you?
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm here to tell you, it's all about chromosomes, right? It's just making appropriate chromosomes line up, and then boom, you start from the beginning, and then fucking here's the pool, and I'm just going to stir it a certain way, and boom, you're going to have a broad. That's how that works.
Okay.
That's how it works in the fucking in the stuff. After you have tequila, then that's what happens.
Right.
But so listen, I don't hate Omega. I think that there's part of it that they're trying to use to like humanize like Hunter a little bit, but there's also she has a sensory ability, right? It's not just a matter of like knowing like, okay, I know what you're like when she says to Crosshair.
Yeah.
God damn it. Crossfire was that board game, right? Wasn't it like the game was like you shot the balls into the thing? My brain. No, so you had like she goes to Crosshair when they're in the fucking prison. She's like, I know what you're going to do. Right.
Yeah.
So there's a part of me, there's a little part of me in the back of my brain is like, well, maybe this is part of that force. Like, what if they're trying to clone that force sensitivity and this is a part of it?
Oh,
is this why is she special? Like, why do they keep her close?
Well, and that was the thing. Like they kept saying, like, oh yeah, she's one of us too. She's one of these, specially modified. What's her ability? I haven't seen her fucking special ability up to this point.
And it's been really subtle.
Okay.
But there's been this like foresight that she has that it could be just a sensory thing, or it could be something with the force. Like, I don't know. The kind of our world is open really to whatever this is.
Sure. Yeah.
I truly believe that they were going to ship her off though. I'm like, okay, here's a really good way to throw away this.
Oh
character.
yeah, like
let's put her on this fucking boat and send her off.
Yeah, in that second episode when they were like ready to like just fucking send her off with the other.
I'm like, are they really gonna do that? Like,
before we get into those details, we probably should take a quick break.
Sure,
because I'm about to piss myself, quite frankly. So.
It's funny you went from like, oh, I'm good to go to like 20 minutes later, like I'm gonna pee myself.
Dude, that was like 30 minutes ago.
Was it?
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, we're gonna keep talking about these Bad Batch episodes after this break and a quick word from our sponsors.
You shouldn't be snapping for free. That's all I'm saying.
I know. I'll bring it back.
Probably want to reseat your mic when you get back too. Okay. Dave said the thing. Which thing? Tequila makes you pregnant? I'm working on that t-shirt, by the way. I've got a lot of t-shirt ideas. That's definitely one of them. It's just about it's more of figuring out how to make the tequila bottle like protrude, and it's a whole thing. It's one of the reasons I wanted my iPad back from my daughter, because I have an iPad Pro, which has have the pencil and everything else. So it's like I can actually like draw on it and vector. I just have to have time to do it. It's been rough. It's been a rough fucking week. But you know what? That's life. It wouldn't be life otherwise. So yeah. Episode 3's crawl. Have we done episode 3? Like in all the 200 episodes that we've been doing, did we do? If nothing else, tequila makes lunar prego. That's really funny.
I'm not used to pissing outside when it's like so bright out.
I know, right? It's a little.
Like I feel like everybody's watching me at this point.
Yeah.
Everybody's watching me pee.
What? Any of the New Republic books? Yes, I read the. You talk about the.
Wait, who's getting Luna Girl Prego?
Tequila.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I read the first High Republic book. I did read, and if you want to see a roundtable review of that, go to the Escape Pod guys, because we did some stuff with the Red 5 Network on their show. So you can see my thing on that. No, Jason, no. No, Jason, no what?
No, what?
What? It's Dragon Buddy. He's upset about something.
Oh, about the Lunar Girl getting pregnant from tequila? I don't know. I wasn't there, so but apparently you were, so
I hope. Yeah, that'd be fucking awkward really quick.
Yeah.
No, so June 20th, there's an eclipse. Did you know this?
Of the heart?
Nothing I can say. So Kathy says to me,
Every now and then I get a little bit terrified. I see the fucking look in your eyes.
fucking look.
Fucking every now and then I fall apart.
No, so
I fucking need you more than ever.
I'm driving back from Home Depot yesterday with the wife, and she says to me, she asked me about this eclipse that's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, no, there's no eclipse coming up. And she's like, yes, there is. Like, it's in June something. I'm like, that's not on my radar at all. I'm like, I feel like it's too soon, like maybe at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, no, it's like in June. So sure enough, we Google it, and yeah, there's an eclipse next month. And I'm like, how the fuck is it not on my radar?
Like
First of all,
like a full eclipse?
yeah.
Get the fuck
You're
out.
gonna be able to see from the north and the northeast. Yeah. So you know how she knew? Because the box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch had a fucking like an eclipse goggles thing
Really?
in the box. Yeah, I had no idea. Lunar Girl, help a brother out.
So the sidebar, you remember when this happened? What was this, like 2 or 3 years ago? We had the full eclipse happen here in the Northeast.
Mm-hmm.
It was big, like it was being like hyped for weeks, right? And it was supposed to happen, and it was supposed to happen at like a certain time. It was like 12:45 or something in the afternoon, some shit, right? And I remember like everybody at work was talking about it. I go outside and it's like 12. We go outside at like 12:40. It's like, all right, yeah, anytime now. 12:45 rolls around. Okay, any second. 12:50. All right, it's got to happen anytime now. 12:55. It's like, did we fucking miss it?
Yeah.
Like, all right, whatever. Go back into the office. 10 minutes later, people come in. Oh, did you see it? It's like, what the fuck, man?
It's Latin long dependent, right? So
yeah.
Like the timing was just off. Lunar brings up a good point. It's what is it called? An annual? Is it annual or annui? It's a type of eclipse where it's there's a lot of the sun still displayed, but it's still being blocked.
Okay.
There's a term for it I can't think of right now. But anyway, yeah, but that's coming up. And she says you see it's partially right before dawn. So we'll see.
Lunar Girl says it's annular.
Thank you.
Annular.
Yes, it's very annular with the moon. There's fucking hot as balls in here, by the by.
I was thinking that.
Yeah.
But we can't turn on the AC because
we can't.
It'll be too loud. Hold on.
'Tis the season.
Can you guys hear that?
Probably.
Yeah.
It felt good for 5 seconds.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that'll last you.
That's like in the gym, like when I'm starting to sweat and I'm like, oh man, I wish there was some air moving. I'm like, oh wait, there's a little fan built in, and I hit that little fan.
Oh, the little fan that's like mounted on the.
Big, but it feels fucking phenomenal when there's no air moving at all.
Yeah.
Like anyway.
Yeah. I'll cold soak the room next time.
Yes, that would be good. Although you had heat on this morning.
It was cold.
Not cold enough for heat.
It's a fucking bipolar Jersey weather, man.
Yeah. Well, bipolar Dave. I don't mind being hot. It's just I need air to move.
Mm-hmm.
That's I think because this room is so well like blocked off from any air movement.
Yeah.
Then it's probably what makes it good for recording. Not so much with sweating.
Right. All right. We ready to get back to it, or do you need a piss? Or
I've been waiting on you.
Whatever, man. All right. Give me a countdown then. We'll get. And we're back. So I'm going through the rest of my notes. Oh, that's pretty awesome. Again, exclusive for the YouTube audience, what Dave's doing right now. Anyway, going back through my notes for this first episode, and I didn't really have much else. We had this sequence. You talk about kind of like immature and annoying, where there was basically like a food fight in the fucking cafeteria where Omega sat next to the fucking Bad Batch.
Right.
And, you know, the regular clothes, the regs were walking by and talking shit, you know, under their breath. And like Omega throws like fucking food at him and it starts this big fucking food fight. I'm just like, ugh, really? You know, we were doing so well up to this point, you know, and then all of a sudden we had to have this sequence. Kind of annoying, but whatever. Then we go into this battle sequence. This is a little over halfway through the episode. It's a long fucking episode, this first one.
Yeah.
But it's basically a training exercise where Tarkin is observing the Squad 99 and just kind of getting a feel for him. And they switch to live fire at one point. Now, the droids that popped out during the live fire part, did you think that those looked like the fucking Dark Troopers from that last episode of Mandalorian? Like an early version of the Dark Troopers? Yeah. That's exactly what they look like to me.
It was like it was a mix between a super battle droid and
the Dark Troopers. Yeah, I could definitely see that. But it looked to me like this maybe was one of the first iterations of that kind of droid trooper.
I could see that, but I think the problem with that is they say in the Mandalorian that the what's his nuts, the doctor guy, right, says that that initially started out as basically armor for a human, and then they eliminated the human, which made it better. So
that's true.
For me, it was like, all right, here's a super battle droid. It is a super battle droid, right? You know, with the
oh yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
right. And it's just like, okay, let's advance on that. You know, on that particular technology.
Mm-hmm. I mean, at least aesthetically, it looked just like them.
Yeah.
At least from the head and the upper body perspective. But whatever, that could just be a little Easter egg that they threw in. And then, of course, this leads to Tarkin sending the Bad Batch on a mission to Onderon to eliminate some insurgents, which fucking saw goddamn Guerrera again.
Yep.
That motherfucker, it never goes away.
Nope.
They will put him in fucking everything, apparently.
For reasons unknown.
Right. In this, he wasn't as annoying as he has been in the past, honestly.
Because I guess he doesn't suffer from oxygen deprivation yet, or whatever it is that's wrong with him.
Yeah, or fucking insanity.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we see Saw Gerrera appear, and of course, Hunter doesn't allow the rest of the squad to fucking just eliminate these civilians, basically civilians and kids and people that are part of Saw's group there.
Yeah, even though
Crosshair.
I wanted to say Crossfire. God damn it.
Yeah.
Crosshair is really like no, our mission was to fucking eliminate these people.
Right. And that's been a theme throughout this whole first episode too, is Crosshair, you know, for Order 66 and everything else, the rest of the Bad Batch, they're like, what the fuck is going on? Where Crosshair is just like, no, good soldiers follow orders, kill the fucking Jedi.
Well, it's not, it's like a fucking maybe 60%, right? Where it's like, there's something in there trying to tell him that, like, hey, you know, this is what you should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's fighting it, or, you know, it's just not fully developed for him.
Right.
So, but it's way closer to the regs than it is, you know, the other guys, which, spoiler, I think, what do you think is wrong with old boy's head?
One of the Bad Batch guys?
Yeah.
Wrecker?
Thank you. Hulk Smasher. Yeah. What do you think is wrong with his head? Like, well, he says he hits his head during the crash, but why is his head still hurt? Do you think it's something happening there?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he does go back to that a couple of times.
Yeah, why leave him in the ship to fucking hang out? Like, what's wrong with his head?
I didn't think about that. Yeah, I didn't pick up on that at all.
So,
okay.
Something to look at next
week. Yeah, and maybe that's something that, you know, they'll keep building on as the show goes. And, you know, maybe it's something that he'll have to, like, work harder to fight against, and maybe it'll get the best of him. Who knows?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Just a little nugget.
Yep. And of course, throughout all of this, Omega tries to warn them about Tarkin and the mission and how they're being set up and they
Right.
shouldn't come back to Camino. And of course, Hunter decides, oh, we got to go get Omega after he finds out that she was also a defective clone. She was the 5th clone
Right.
that the Kaminoans referred to, because when Tarkin was asking them, like, how many of these are there? They're like, oh, there's 5 left.
Right.
Which on paper, you would assume that it means the 5 of the Bad Batch. But of course,
Echoes was a regular.
yes, Echo, because we know his whole history, how he got captured and then re-rescued and then became part of the Bad Batch. He was not a defective.
Right.
Omega was. So Hunter's like, oh, well, she's one of us. We got to go back and get her. They go back to Camino, get captured. Crosshair eventually rolls over on him. He's like, no, fuck you guys.
Right.
And
Tarkin sees it because he saw it with the Imperial probe droid that was fucking chilling.
Right.
Right. He's like, no. All right. So there's one of them. Then let's throw him in a fucking MRI machine and see what we can shake loose on there. Because obviously with the demonstration, he sees potential of like basically clones that can think outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
These are your high speed clones,
right?
Even though they're considered defective because they don't follow orders necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I think another key for the Omega bit, like, all right, she gave them the warning, right? Why does she know this about Tarkin and everything else? Well, is it because she works directly with the Kaminoans? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there is some foresight there. You also get this, the Kaminoans helping the Bad Batch directly.
Yes.
Like with the jamming of the fucking, like, all right, here, close the blast doors, right? And the blast doors won't close. Like somebody's overriding it. And it's old girl standing there with her fucking iPad, basically keeping them from being able to close the doors to ensure that they escape.
Yeah. And I mean, I think you think about this from the Kaminoans' perspective. They kind of see the writing on the wall, I think. They realize now that it's the Empire and this guy fucking Tarkin, who's traditionally been very against clones,
right,
is rolling in, and now he's in charge of determining whether or not we're going to continue with clones. They fucking know. They probably know what's going on.
But there's also, again, maybe mixing canon with that's an interesting point. Let's come back to that. What Lunar Girl said.
Yeah.
Fucking damn it, lost some train of thought.
Talking about Tarkin and the conscription and the Kaminoans.
Oh, the Kaminoans are playing the long game. Like they were all like in Legends material, like they're very like it's not so cut and dry. Like they work these contracts, they have other irons in the fire. Like they've been around for a long time. Like they know that they have to play both sides of this some kind of way. Like they don't really give a shit necessarily how the clones are used per se. They just want to make sure that they continue to get contracts and can, survive.
Sure.
For what they are. Which relevant sidebar. This extended interaction with the Kaminoans, like, really makes me like. We know they're based on the Close Encounters from the Third Kind aliens, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much. And this, just seeing them move around and everything, even animated, is like. There's a level of detail in like the eyes and stuff like that like is lost on other parts of this animation that just is really kind of, I don't know. It's not whimsical. It's not the right word, but it's very like, I don't know, otherworldly. Like,
yeah.
Their movements and like how like flowy they are. Obviously it's not as good as it is when we see them in the prequels, but I don't know. I like watching him, and I immediately think about the aliens from Close Encounters.
Oh yeah, and that has to be intentional. And I remember being in the theater and seeing the Kaminoans for the first time on the big screen in Attack of the Clones, and thinking, "Fuck," because they really are based on these traditional alien sketches and whatnot from Alien Encounters here on Earth, like with the big black eyes and the gray heads, but only smaller, like the Close Encounters versions of that. But yeah, it's so well done. And just I remember being mesmerized by them when they came on screen. And they've done a good job of carrying that on into these animated series. So it's again really curious to see what's going to happen to the Kaminoans after all of this, because with Tarkin and the Empire possibly going to conscription, or just maybe using some clones to train the rest of the fucking Stormtroopers that are going to come up. I don't know. I'm really excited to see where they go with that storyline.
Yeah, because I doubt are you going to wipe Camino off the planet? Like
I kind
it's
of
already
figured
been
they were
removed-
going to,
it's
honestly.
removed from the Jedi archives, right? Like the planet didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So do you use what clones you have left to say, okay, protect this planet, like, and we're just
Or execute Order 67, where it's like kill all the Kaminoans, then your fucking selves. You know,
the first 66 orders.
And so by the end of this first episode, they go back to Kamino. They break out of prison without Crosshair, but with Omega.
Right.
So now they're 5 again, minus Crosshair. Crosshair is now our main antagonist,
Right.
basically. And then the fucking Bad Batch are off on their own. We roll into episode 2, and this is where it really becomes evident. If you weren't convinced before that this was just an extension of the Clone Wars, then the second episode just kind of reinforces that when they go back to a storyline from fucking season 2 of the Clone Wars. If you remember Cut, we actually reviewed that episode on All Things Star Wars, where it was the Deserter. The episode was titled The Deserter, and you went into this clone. Cut was his name, and he said, fuck all y'all, I met this hot Twi'lek, she's got a couple of kids, I'm gonna fuck her, raise her kids as my own, live a happy life here on the farm. Right. And that's what he did, and we go back to that fucking character. So this second episode, Cut and Run, the Bad Batch are like, fuck, we need to find some friendly forces, and
somebody that can, like, hey, this person's been flying under the radar pretty well.
Yeah.
Let's learn something from him.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Well, what's kind of stood out to me, I guess, I don't know if I like it or not, but the fact that Rex had just been through there.
Yeah.
Like when they get there.
Yeah, that was Rex a nice little thing that they threw
Rex
in there.
Was just in here. Like, oh, you saw Rex?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, he wasn't.
Which, by the way, there's no fucking way they don't run into Rex at some point over the course of this series.
Yeah, right.
Well, and I was thinking they're probably going to run into Rex. They're probably going to run into Ahsoka at some point, right? Because we know she's still fucking out and about doing her thing. There's a lot of characters that they can still come across over the course of this episode. But this second one, Cut and Run, was just about them going back to Cut and, hooking up with him. And then obviously the Empire shows up because that's what they do.
Right.
And it all became about getting Cut out of the fucking system on some transport with him and his family. And then, of course, Hunter had the idea to throw Omega in with him because, she's a kid. He's got kids. They all get along. Raise her as your own.
Yeah, and there's this whole thing where it gets into the clearance codes and shit like that. Like,
right.
Like everyone has to have fucking basically an ID.
Yeah, it's like a registry, right? Like everybody in the galaxy is all of a sudden becoming part of a registry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wonder why he would do something like that. But again, we're seeing the infancy of the Empire, right? You've got like the good idea fairies. Like, if you can imagine, like good idea fairies, like, it'd be really good with, like, what if we gave everybody like a data number?
Mm-hmm.
And we just track them that way. Like, we like the cut of your jib. Go ahead, do that. Make that happen.
And you're now a colonel.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Or an admiral later.
Yeah.
That other guy.
Whatever. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So that was the whole point of this episode, was them basically hooking up with Cut and then trying to get him and his family off of the fucking planet. All kinds of drama, a lot of Omega shit mixed in where, they're trying to get her to go off with fucking Cut and his family. And then eventually she doesn't. And this was one of those, I felt like it was more of a filler episode, with the exception of going back to the storyline from season 2 of the Clone Wars. Mm-hmm. It really was just a lot of filler. And unfortunately, I feel like episode 3 was the same thing. I don't know if you gleaned anything else from these episodes.
Not really. I mean, I think I kind of mentioned the stuff that stood out to me the most. Like, I didn't, honestly, ironically, like, I didn't feel like they were as much a filler. I probably was more entertained than I anticipated.
Well, and yeah, I don't want to say it like it's necessarily a bad thing. Like, I was entertained the whole time, but especially the second episode, like the overall storyline did not progress whatsoever throughout the
Right.
course of this episode. Now with episode 3, the replacements, like you mentioned, you get some of that stuff with Crosshair going off with some of these newly minted conscripted soldiers,
Right.
and start to train them and do their thing. And that's when they roll into Saw Gerrera's camp and fucking do the job that they didn't do before.
Yeah. And there's these little subtleties too. Like, did you notice where they like bedded down? Like, so when Crosshair goes back to Camino after this mission,
Mhm.
they're in the Bad Batch's fucking
Oh,
they're in that same quarters. It's like, so he's basically sleeping in the same bed just with other people around him.
I didn't realize that.
So like I think you're going to see with Crosshair, there's going to be this conflict within him.
Sure, yeah.
You know, as we go, as Tarkin keeps fucking turning the screws on him, they're like, hey, let's make sure this dude fucking, you know, keeps his loyalty.
Mhm.
I think there's still going to be that point of his programming that's just a little bit off.
Yeah.
And you kind of saw it like, and what a fucking kick in the nuts too. Like, oh, by the way, go back to your own quarters and we're going to put these other fucking troopers with you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It just, I appreciate the subtleties that Dave Filoni brings to the show.
Oh yeah.
Because whether it's Clone Wars season 8 or not, I really feel like I don't know where this is going to end. Right?
Yeah.
Even though we know the ending, I don't know how this is going to end. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Like-
no, absolutely.
Like we know how the story ends, but how we get there, I think has already surprised me in 3 episodes. Like, okay, is there an opportunity probably to cut off some fucking fat? Absolutely.
Sure.
But I think they still have to have some elements that are A, going to make the episodes long enough. B, to still make children, you know,
Yeah, I guess
you know,
technically kids are still your target
right.
audience.
So even though I would I'm really curious what the demographic of who's watching this is.
Oh, I'm sure it's more people like us than fucking people like my kids.
It's got to be. It's
Yeah.
got to be.
But again, I know I mentioned this before when we did the last season of Clone Wars. This is something that my son Adam and I have been doing together.
Mhm.
Like from the very beginning, from the Bad Batch, you know, he and I have been watching every single episode together, and it's been great. And you know, we share theories and everything else. So I'd like to think it's a cross-generational thing, especially like people our age that can enjoy with either their kids or their grandkids.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think that's the intent. Don't forget we are talking about this thing Luna Girl brought up.
Oh yeah, the Omega thing. Omega. I'm Omega.
So Luna Girl brings up that she thinks Omega's name itself has significance. Omega is the final letter of the Greek alphabet. You know,
Which makes sense, like the final clone kind of
Right.
thing.
like this is the final clone of this particular run
Yeah.
or something like that. I can see that. I can see that being a part of it. You know, why does Omega exist? Like, why is Omega closer to the Kaminoans, right? But at the end of it, I think the Kaminoans let her go because if they kept her there, it would compromise something else that they're doing,
Sure.
right? I think they're keeping whatever's going on with Squad 99 or with Omega. They're keeping it close to their chest right now,
Sure.
so that Tarkin and those fucking clowns don't get involved in it.
Right. And you know, the question I have about her and her character is, you know, why was she tied to the medical section? You know, what is her special ability or mutation or whatever have to do with the medical aspect? So
Yeah.
could that be the more Jedi consular type thing where the consulars are more healers?
Yeah, like a healer.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or just let's put her in a medical thing because we want her looking at how clones work.
Sure.
How do we make a better clone? Like, you know, use her as a, like, all right, look at yourself and see how do we make this better
Right.
type thing. So who knows? Like I said, I don't hate this. Like my expectations, they weren't Inigo Montoya low going into this. Like my expectations, they were around there though. Like again, I really thought that the things that still annoy me are fucking Rambo. I can't get over the Rambo bit.
I don't know why that bothers you so much.
It just does. It's so unnecessary. Wrecker doesn't bother me nearly as much. Like Tech and
If I had to pick a favorite, to be Tech right now. Like, I like Tech. He's the least annoying out of all of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's his character. Like, this is who this is.
Yeah.
Right? And he's oblivious to his own, like, of course that was obvious.
Yeah, like duh.
And honestly,
what are you, fucking retarded? Come on.
And quite frankly, I'm still surprised that that you didn't pick up on her being a clone right away.
No, it didn't dawn on me. I'm just like, who the fuck is this kid? Oh, they're probably trying to, because obviously all of the clones are men because they're cloned after a man, and this is Disney. We have to have a strong female character, so we have to inject this fucking female kid into there. And then that goes down this whole other rabbit hole that I don't even want to get into.
Yeah, I didn't see it that way. I saw it as like, well, for me, as soon as she came into the picture, it's like, okay, well, let's open up all the things that if you have a female clone, what does this now enable?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And the idea that she's working so close with the Kaminoans too is like, there's an element here that's going to be important to the rest of the story, because they're obviously, if you were fucking making a clone army, what would be the thing that you're doing? You'd be making a better clone army. That's
Sure.
what you'd be doing as you were fucking doing this. Like, okay, here's our production model, right? But
and
here's
then like refining it as you go
here's what
along.
we're going to sell to special forces, right? And we're working this over here.
Mm.
Our R&D department is working this over here,
right.
so that we can fucking make a better product to sell to you later.
Sure.
And I think that's what Omega is. I think it's a byproduct of that.
So before we close out, and continuing with Omega, do you think she is an actual, like, comes from the DNA of Jango Fett, or do you think she comes from the DNA of somebody else? I've seen some theories running around online that she might actually be a clone of someone else.
No, I think it's a Jango Fett.
Okay. But just somehow female.
Yeah. Just mess with the chromosomes.
Okay.
Yeah. I again, if you're going to have it be a different person, then you don't go out of your way to make the skin color the same, the brown eyes, and also be...
don't even get me started on the whole controversy with the skin color and how everybody's losing their fucking minds about that. You haven't seen that?
No.
Oh my God.
No. I'm better off.
You don't want to.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, I just... Look, she's... native Kiwis or people of color. We know that. Like, Jango Fett was. Like, we're staying, like, all right, we're gonna stay with this. Like, okay, let's just keep going. And again, if you're going to have it be somebody different, then you're not going to, like, not all Mandalorians are fucking Kiwis, right? So if you're going to get another Mandalorian, then,
I like this Kiwi thing. Like, do you think anybody would take offense to
I don't think so.
the term Kiwi?
No, it's their fucking national emblem. It's the Kiwi.
I don't give a shit.
You haven't spent enough time in New Zealand.
I couldn't care less about offending people. So
yeah, obviously, no, I think they went out of their way to like represent that this person is a derivative of Jango Fett.
Okay,
that's just how I see it.
All right.
Bronco Fett says Tech is Donatello.
And you know what? I think he nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Tech is the Donatello of this this crew, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too. Yeah, I think overall so far, like I said, I don't hate it.
Yeah, and I'm definitely curious to see where they go from here.
Yeah,
like, I'm really curious to see if they completely close the book on the transition from clones to stormtroopers and how that happens and what happens to the fucking clones after this.
Yeah, and I like that it's a little bit darker. There's it's Crosshair going like, all right, let's eliminate all these fucking casuals. Yeah, like, oh no, our mission is to fucking destroy them. Go ahead, do it, and pew, pew, pew.
As they should have.
Yeah,
because fuck Saw Gerrera.
Fuck him. Fuck the innocents.
Yeah.
And the other thing too that I'm sure everyone has picked up on is the subtleties in the armor as well. As we start transitioning towards Stormtrooper armor, you can see it. You can see it in the armor that the clones are wearing. They're working towards that transition.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see that a lot. I think we're going to see like starships we're going to start seeing look more like Imperial cruisers as opposed to the Venatu class, and we'll start getting away from all these other things and get the Empire's stamp on the war.
Yeah, and you even see that a little bit with Tarkin and his uniform. It's a lot more Imperial than Republic for sure.
It's like it's funny because we've been in the military like for decades, and we've been through uniform changes, and it's one of those where like, hey, here's your.
Technically, we've been in the military for 4 decades.
Yeah,
More. Me for sure. Like
it'll be almost 5.
Well, I was in the military in the 90s, the O's, the 10s, and now the 20s.
Yeah.
So.
And technically, I wasn't in the 20s.
Right, but I'm still working for a military unit.
I'm in the military industrial complex.
Suck my unit.
I still work for the Air Force.
Right.
But regardless of that, it's like this uniform change. It's like, okay, hey, by the way, we changed our name. Like, you're the Space Force now.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a new uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you're wearing that. Like, by the end of like by 1 October, you have to be wearing the new uniform. You know, no mixing and matching. You know, and I just imagine that with the Empire. Like, okay, the clothier that had the industry for the blind that had to make all the fucking uniforms. For all these
we're thinking about the Kaminoans who are like producing the clothes. What about the fucking tailors on planet Jibjo? Right. Who were like, fuck, we got to sew the new fucking uniforms.
These poor Bangladeshis that are fucking slaving away in the sweatshop, putting in fucking armor together.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I've got a very positive outlook on the Bad Batch. I'm really looking forward to seeing where it goes from here. And again, it's Dave Filoni, man. He gets Star Wars.
Yeah.
Fuck Kathleen Kennedy. Fuck Disney. Dave Filoni still gets it.
Yeah.
And in Filoni, we trust.
No, I'm 100% on board. And I think you said it before when we were watching the end of The Mandalorian. It was like, we're gonna trust Dave Filoni until he gives us a reason not to.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so far, so good.
Yep.
You know, with yet another Star Wars joint. Yep. I just wish he would be involved in all of them, so I'd stress less about whether or not I'm going to like it.
Yeah,
like
well,
the Kenobi series.
I don't think he's involved in that, but I mean, all the Mandalorian stuff he's involved in.
Right.
The animated stuff he's involved in.
Right.
Kenobi, no. Fucking Cassian, no.
Obviously not.
We'll see.
Cassian, it's nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit about that. We're so far away from fucking Rogue One right now that like that coming out almost has zero relevance. Zero.
Pretty much.
Like, if you want to do something like that, you need to do it close to the movie that makes that association. Otherwise, you're bringing a character into it that people don't really have a connection with anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I can see it was Jyn Erso. Like, you want to go there? Okay, that's probably easier because she was the main character.
Yeah.
But no, you're going to take the secondary character who has a cool robot. Cool. Right? I would watch a show with just him,
right?
But fucking Inigo Montoya, like, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit how he fucking became the spy who shagged me, and fucking I don't care. I don't care about any of that unless, and I prepared this thought for the show. The only way that I buy into the fucking Cassian Andor bullshit, right, is if they start straight away with blood on his hands. Like, it has to be in the first episode, the first like hour or 30 minutes or whatever, how long the episode is. I want to see him get dirty.
Well, because he alludes to it. He alludes to it in Rogue One.
Yeah. I don't want to see him as a fucking kid. I don't want to see him as a fucking teenager and some girl breaks his heart. So now he goes and fucking starts, doing this other thing. I don't give a fuck. Don't give a shit. Don't give a shit. That's how you ruin Solo, honestly. So, But you fucking start this episode where you're in some fucking back alley, like, and he's got a knife to some dude's throat, and he gets the info and fucking slits the dude's throat and fucking walks off. I might be watching that.
I could see that
because I want it to be dark.
Yeah,
I want like gooey blood on the ground when you walk through. It makes this sound like kind of dark. You know what I mean? I want it to be like, you want me to care about this character? That's what I want to see. I want to see that fucking conflict that in order to survive, he has to basically fucking murder people and get this information at all costs.
Yep. And again, they that's what they alluded to. in the movie. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
they don't have the fucking stones to do it. They just don't. Just like they couldn't make a Bane book because they would have to start Bane with getting abused by his fucking father.
Yeah.
Like, how do you tell that story without that?
You don't. Like that's a whole,
and that's one of the reasons why they won't make that story, because like how can you nerf Bane to the point where it'll be Disney appropriate?
Yeah.
They just I think what we're getting, the darkness we're getting out of Disney right now, I think is as dark as they get.
Darkness.
No parents.
All right. Well, I think that's it then.
Yeah.
Next
week.
So you apparently volunteered
I don't
willingly put yourself out there
Yep.
to watch
Mhm.
the first Ewok adventure movie. Yep. So here's the thing. Dave has never seen the Ewok movies from the 80s. Yours truly, not only have I seen at least the first Ewok adventure movie multiple times. I saw the second one once, maybe twice. But the first one, I've got some stories to tell about that.
Mm-hmm.
And as luck would have it, they have popped up on Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
So Dave has no excuse to not watch the Ewok Adventure, which I guess technically is now renamed the Caravan of Courage, which,
Right.
by the way, that was not its name back in the day. It was just called the Ewok Adventure.
Right.
Long before there was a sequel and anything else. So
Circa 1984 and
1984.
84.
Oh, God.
An hour and 36 minutes of I'm hoping I live through it and don't.
I'll just say I've got some very strong memories about that. Some really dark moments in that, which I don't know if they hold up today, because I know I did recently rewatch some of it, and it's like, some of this isn't holding up as much as I had hoped. But I digress. We'll talk about that next week, because this is the summer of May, or the month of May, or this is the May.
This is the May.
This is the May.
Yes.
Something like that.
God damn it, Jason. I'm sorry I even brought it up.
So, yeah. So we're going to continue to talk Star Wars next week when we talk about the Ewok Adventure, Caravan O' Courage.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Honestly.
But you agreed to it, and Lunar Girl has the proof.
It was my idea. I don't know what type of fever dream I was having when I
don't know.
It. It's fine. It's fine. Dave suffering for the podcast is a big part of what I do.
Yeah, exactly. And this is something we've been talking about really since we fucking started this podcast in the beginning, like when we started All Things Star Wars. I know the Ewok Adventure was on our list of shit to talk about.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
These years later.
Thank you, Disney Plus, for making it readily available.
27 years later? Would you
know
say 84?
Specials on fucking.
No. The original holiday special?
I just saw it.
Not the Lego holiday special?
Hang on,
Get the fuck out of here.
Hang on. I'm opening.
Jamie, look that up.
I'm opening Disney Plus back up. I was hoping when I opened it that the Ewok shit had disappeared, but it sadly.
I know the Lego holiday special is on there. If you're telling me the original holiday special is on there, I would shit myself.
You know what? I think it is the Lego one.
Okay. I was going to say, like, that would be fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, it's the Lego one, which I still haven't watched, and I really want to. I love the Lego Star Wars stuff.
And I'm sure
I'm still waiting for the fucking Lego Star Wars. Oh, thank God. I'm just making sure it's not there. I'm still waiting for the fucking Lego Star Wars game to come out.
Oh, the like the full saga one, right? That was supposed to be like last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened.
Huh. I haven't heard about that.
Carnival of Carnage. Hey guys, can you wish Daniel a happy 14th birthday? Daniel, happy 14th birthday.
Yes, Daniel, happy birthday. I only have one other question. Who is Daniel?
It doesn't matter.
Well, happy birthday, Daniel.
I don't. The user asked for it. We'll fucking say it.
No,
it's just like if you leave us a 5-star review, we will fucking read it.
That's right. And oh God, what a segue. What a segue into closing out the show. So next week, Caravan of Courage. In the meantime, please go to the Sidebar Cantina, formerly All Things Star Wars, on any podcast app, be it Apple, Google Play, or Google Podcasts now is the thing. Stitcher, fucking Rogan's fucking service. What is it? Spotify. Yeah, we're on all the shit. Go on to those and leave us a review. If you leave us a review, we will read it verbatim here on the show. No matter what you say, you could say Dave sucks all the dicks in Runnymede, New Jersey, and we will read it here on the show.
Somebody will read it.
Right.
I'm not going to read that one.
So please go leave us a review. Find us on social media. We're mostly on Instagram. Fuck Twitter. Twitter's
we're not
gay.
doing anything on Twitter.
Yeah.
And the fact is, our presence is on social media, but thankfully it's being run by Lunar Girl.
Yes.
And you will have a appreciation for Jason and Lunar Girl's love of coffee.
Yes, because coffee is the blood of life.
Yes. You will enjoy it. And all the this or that's and the other games and shit like that. It's fun. Follow us so that you can support Lunar Girl.
Yes. And of course, the Sidebar Cantina was generated through this private Facebook group that we run. Called
the Sidebar Cantina.
The Sidebar Cantina, which Dave has the merch on as we speak.
The officially licensed Sidebar Cantina t-shirt.
Yes. So
go to TeePublic.
Yes.
I got it right.
Yes.
TeePublic. Search for Gen X POV right now.
Because we're still in the middle of brands.
I'm working on it.
But that's where you can get our merch. And
you can get legacy merch. You can get from a Gen X POV merch, which is really, really nice.
It's rare now. It's rare, like Bitcoin. It's a hot commodity that you should really hop on.
Yes, you should do that. And the guys who got us thinking about the TeePublic stuff, the Escape Pod guys,
good friends of ours, they were here 100 episodes ago.
100 episodes. 100 episodes.
Yeah.
Speaking of, so Big Swede made it to the Quick Stop.
I saw that. Yeah.
Something that we did with the Galactic Caravan.
Yes, 100 episodes ago.
100 episodes ago. So thanks, Escape Pod guys. We saw you in the chat. I think we just missed Scott from the Use and Abuse podcast.
But he was in the chat earlier.
He was in the chat. Thank you to fellow content creators from the Escape Pod. I know Brady was in there too. Not that you're not a content creator, but
we know who does all the work.
Yeah, honestly. Brady is Brady. Don is the Escape Pod.
Right.
Brady is me. Like what am I to the show? I'm just here for fucking to look good.
You're the color commentary.
And the color commentary. Yeah. That's what Brady is to the show. But you can see the Escape Pod on YouTube, and the Use and Abuse guys on YouTube. Big Swede, who we're just alluding to, has nothing to do with that.
Right.
He is at Swede Studios.
Yeah, Swede Studios is like his big endeavor right now. Like he's making all kinds of music, doing all kinds of collaborations.
Great music stuff. Really, this last one was really good. Had Helmet Fire, Chad Dutch Vickers did some of the video work for him, and it's phenomenal. So support those guys as well. We should probably have a list of the people to say hi to.
Yeah, I just need to make a list, and then we can like copy and paste it into all of our show descriptions, and we'll get there someday. Maybe by episode 300, we'll have all that stuff.
Maybe by then we'll actually send out.
Just you need to stop.
Lunar Girl stuff.
Right.
I just need to come in here and do it. I just need to fucking take this shit with me and just fucking send it myself.
I'm busy. I do a lot every day,
and I don't.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we're adults with lives that take up a lot of our time.
Right. E-Trader says we should make an Excel sheet.
Okay.
It's my sister.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, we need to have some sort of Google Doc and cut and paste the stuff right into our when we create the YouTube thing. We can.
All right. Why don't you get on that? Just let me know when it's ready.
I think there is one in there. I have. We have the one for. You know what? Yeah, I'll work on it.
Anyway,
I will work on it. Oh my god.
Anything else?
No.
All right. Well,
Do the thing.
well, thank you everybody for joining us again. Thank you for 200 episodes
Yes.
of the Dave and Jason show.
That's right.
It's a lot of episodes.
Currently known as the Sidebar Cantina.
As the Sidebar Cantina, because
Right.
that's what we do.
Right.
And yeah, it's been a hell of a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to another 200 episodes.
Yes.
And until we meet again, Dave and everybody else, may the force be with you.
May the force be with you.
Good stuff.
Okay, now what do I click?
All right. Let's export this.
All right, so for the people that are new, this is the post show.
Yes.
This is the part that will not be on the podcast. This is the ask us anything.
Yep.
We'll bullshit about whatever. Wasn't one of the things that was into this or that, like maybe it was the week before last, I had Barris versus somebody else. Excuse me. I think there was 2 weeks of this or that.
Oh, right. Well, I only covered the first week of
It might have
this
been
or
the
that.
second week, because I remember Barris being a part of it. It was like Barris or some other broad.
Kelly. Help us out.
Jason is Dale.
What? Oh, come on. Really?
He's not anti-government enough to be Dale.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there was another this or that, because I remember Barris specifically.
No, there was. Like, I'm not disputing that, but I don't remember what the poll was or what the results
I
were.
don't either.
Let me see if I can find
I think
it
it was
on
maybe it was the
Instagram.
Mother's Day one. No.
When was Mother's Day?
The day I dropped you off at the airport?
Oh,
was
right.
Mother's Day.
Yeah, we didn't get to hear the annual Jason rant about Mother's Day, which is probably for the best.
Probably. Be right back. She'll text it.
Oh, okay. Oh, it is hot in here. Can I turn on the AC?
I think so.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, damn it. I used to have that memorized.
You talking from Dogma?
Yes.
No pleasure, no rapture, no greater, no fucking something sin greater than central air. No pleasure, no rapture, no exquisite sin greater than central air. Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. Jamie, look that up.
I think I have that like saved.
No pleasure, no rapture, no fuck. It's close. I'm close. I'm almost there.
That's what she said?
Sure.
Probably not. No, it's not in my thing. Damn it. Yeah, Kelly has the podcast Control V file that's in Note, but we just need to get that and basically make a Google Doc of that in the new How You Doing?
Yes, with the newest links and everything, and
Yeah.
we need to fix the T public also.
Yeah, I gotta figure out how to
be
do
Gen
that.
X POV.
Yeah, I gotta figure out how to do that.
Can you see my tan lines on the fucking YouTube?
I can see him from here.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see them, but
Mine aren't any worse. Mine aren't any better.
no.
This is the part of the show where Jason flexes in front of the camera.
It's just me flexing for 15 minutes.
Throwing his armpits in the air, blocking the fucking air conditioning, so I can just get full whiff. Right in my face. My mouth
In
was
your
open,
face.
dude.
What?
My mouth was open. You can't do that shit when my mouth is open. God damn. I did not.
Jason, about your students.
I did not. So I might save that for next week
Okay.
because it's Star Wars related.
And which sister is this?
This is my youngest sister.
Okay, the one that I have not met.
I think you've met her. Liz?
I've met the one that lives in Jersey.
Yes, that's her.
Okay, we met at the Halloween party.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, that's Liz.
Okay.
My other sister lives in North Carolina,
Yes.
who I think went home.
Right. That's the one I have not met.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes, I know I met you. I just wanted to make sure. Remember Halloween party? It was a good time. Lots of fun at the lodge. I was there. I remember. I really remember Khaleesi from that Halloween party. Khaleesi from Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Really remember that one.
Yeah, see, so here's where I fucked up. I've been such a mess. Like, I had lodge Friday night, and I had to go. And we're having a cousins get together, and I forgot that I had fucking lodge. So, I'm like packing up, leaving lodge. It's like after 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, we had a toast to my Uncle Fred after a lodge meeting. And I'm like, all right, I got to go. And my plan was, Kathy wasn't feeling well. I was going to stop at the house and then go over to my sister's house for the cousins gathering. So I get in the car and I'm driving and I'm in my head, thinking about all the the meeting and all the follow throughs and all the do outs and shit like that. And I had, you need to see what Don put. I had, I was at the traffic light in Haddonfield, the one on Kings Highway. And I'm sitting there and all of a sudden, beep, like somebody, and I'm like, huh, oh yeah. Like I was out at the fucking light.
Wow.
And I'm like, fuck, I really need to just go home. Like I was reaching that point of exhaustion where I was just
like you were completely zoned out, like on another plane of existence.
Yeah, like it wasn't that normal, like where you kind of get hypnotized while you're driving or whatever.
Uh-huh.
No, this was completely. I was out.
Wow.
Like I had just one drink, so it wasn't even like had nothing to do with alcohol. It was like I had just enough to raise a toast to, and then went about my merry way. And I was just like, nah, I gotta go home. So I'm like, I'll be able to see my other sister Kathy. I'll be able to see her on Saturday before she goes, because I thought she was going home on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently she went home on Saturday. So I fucked that all up, and then I ended up seeing her. And I was like, God damn it, I'm the worst. I am the worst. Just bad human. But in fairness, it was a long week.
It's understandable.
It was a long week.
In addition to all the bullshit you were going through, you also injected yourself into a lot of the logistics and everything else. Mm-hmm. So, as you do,
I hit in it.
So, yep.
Saturday at 7, huh? Was it out of Atlantic City? Is that why you guys were down there? I don't know. Anyway.
Oh, so how did Kathy do at the casino?
Oh, she lost. Oh, so here's what's funny about my wife at the casino.
Did she go to the one in Philly? New one?
Chester.
Oh, okay.
Went to Chester. Her parents like go to Chester. So her parents are they're pros, right? They know what machines to play. Like they have this whole they have the battle rhythm of the machine figured out where it's like, okay, this is how quickly you have to hit buttons to make certain things happen and blah blah blah, right? Kathy and I, we're not slot people.
Right.
If we're going to go to the casino at all, we're going to go play slots, but we're going to pay a quarter at a time.
Are there a lot of slots in Philly?
Yes.
So many slots, you won't know what to do.
So what we used to do back in the day when you actually put a coin into the fucking slot machine, we'd just have a pile of coins and we'd just go click one. We'd sit at two machines and she'd put in one, pull the handle. I'd pull in one, pull the handle. We'd bullshit and goof off and get free drinks.
Sure.
It'd spend $30.
Right.
What you would spend on going on a night out, right? And that's there's no strategy. It's like, oh, this machine, we can make the quarters last longer on this machine, so cool.
Yeah.
But that's not how machines are anymore.
Oh, trust me, I know. I was just in Vegas.
Yeah,
it's like you put in your $100 bill and you fucking pull the crank a dozen times, and then it's like, oh, where did all my money go?
Yeah, and that's apparently like Kathy was putting money in, and her dad was trying to coach her.
Oh no!
Right, and she put the money in, pulled the slot, nothing happens, and she looks at her dad, and he's like, "Well, you didn't do it right. Like
you didn't pull the handle right.
Like what? In my mind, it's like, what is there to do?
Right.
Like I'm not playing blackjack. There's no skill set here. But in my in-laws' defense, like they play the machines enough where they probably understand that there's a particular rhythm to it to make it pay out.
Sure,
because it's paid out for them in the past. I mean, they win occasionally, and like everybody does, I guess. But yeah, so she doesn't. Like we don't play the machines that way. We're not playing to make money. We're playing to entertain ourselves, right? Whereas some people are into it and they're trying to go in there and actually come away with some money. So yes, she lost money and whatever.
Yeah,
she had an entertaining evening.
Yeah, and exactly, it's all in good fun. And that's something I've noticed about the slot machines in Vegas going to this last time is, if you pick the right ones, because most of them now, like this is the one thing. Casinos used to have their own different vibe, right? Back in the day, back in the day of the coin operated, slot machines and everything else, and the theming and everything else. Each casino you walked into had its own different vibe.
Yeah.
Everything is so homogenized now. You could walk into like New York, or the fucking Bellagio, or the fucking Paris, or the Venetian. It's all the same.
Yeah. And
everything looks exactly the same when you walk into the floor of the casino.
was like that, what you're talking about. Like if you went to like the Showboat, for example, like the Showboat had they had a Western theme in one area where you go through, and the machines were based on that. Like, okay,
right, yeah,
these machines are going to have like a Western theme and all that other stuff. And like each one of the Taj Mahal was one for that. Like it had that theme, and the Tropicana had its own theme. And that's how AC used to be. It still has a little bit of that. Like, I will say that between Vegas and AC, like, you can tell what casino you're in by standing there. Like, whereas in you can get in Vegas, unless you're on Fremont Street, like, to me, if you're on a casino floor, unless you know exactly what you're looking for, you could be in any one of them.
Yeah, you wouldn't know the difference, honestly. And that kind of sucks. Like, it takes away from some of the mystique of it, and because
Reno was bad for that.
Yeah, and because they're all these like fucking LCD fucking touchscreen fucking slot machines now. Like most of them have no handle, which I'm sorry, I don't play slot machines unless I can pull the fucking handle. Yeah, go fuck yourself, right? So I had very strict criteria when Kristen and I would go to slot machines. Like it has to have a handle, and it has to be a game that you can win like free spins on,
right?
But when you find that one, it's actually very entertaining because like the noises that are going on and the music that plays as the fucking like slot columns are rolling and everything, it's very, it hits all those like right sensors like in the human mind,
right? Where
it's like bram bram bram, it hits all those like those audible cues that like kind of make you excited.
Well, I think too, like our introduction to gambling when it still had coin-driven slots was the payout. You heard
the ding 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 ding.
You live for it, even if you were just cashing out. Like you'd still get that gratification of like,
and you had the fucking cup, the plastic cups that were everywhere.
Yep.
Like, and you just put all the fucking coins into that cup, and like, I'd like my money now, please.
Yeah, it's just not the same,
right?
Really
and that's why when I said earlier, like I really get that feeling that it's just like. It's not even subtle anymore, that they're really just in it to take your fucking money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just open your pocket and fucking get it.
Yeah.
I do want to go to that live casino, the one that's at the base of the bridge. By the sports complex.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the casino is lame, like I feel like that hotel would be cool just because it's right there.
I wouldn't mind rolling in there and playing some blackjack,
Yeah.
If they have blackjack tables. I don't know
I don't even know
like what their thing is, but
yeah.
Well, let me know when you go, and we'll
figure it. Yeah,
we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we need to do that.
All right.
Do it on a random night.
Yeah. So is it time to wrap it up?
I think so.
All right. Well, thanks guys for sticking with us through the after party. All 6 of you, according to StreamYard.
Yeah, Luna Girl says she'll drive the 3 hours. Like we could do an AC meetup. I think that's very doable.
Yeah.
Do an AC meetup. The other thing we need to coordinate is getting up to Big Swede's Dark Sky area.
Oh
so
yeah.
that we can summertime's starting to
Summer love.
get to a point where the Milky Way is starting to like get a little bit higher in the sky, so more opportunities.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
No, it's oh well. All right. Read Republic Commando, Bronco Fett said.
It's on the docket. Trust me.
I have it. It's in my fucking audio book.
Like
in my Audible thing.
Wait, there's an audiobook of it?
I'm pretty sure. Where do I have that?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's in my Audible.
Yeah.
Hang on. It knows I was saying it because then it became a...
Oh, that was the great thing too. When we were in Vegas, like you go to post a picture, right? And you go to like tag somebody, and like me and Kristen were in the same spot, and I like go to like check in, and you know she's not at the top of my list for people to tag. I'm like, come on, buddy,
It's right there.
Come on, buddy.
Come on.
You know you're spying on both of us. You know we're both right here. Just put her at the top of my fucking tags.
Who are you fooling?
Yeah.
It is not my Audible list.
All
I
right.
don't know where I have it.
Well, I know we've got it in the sacred texts. So I'll read the paper version. But
yeah,
I do. I want to read these because I'm really curious to see what they do with the Republic Commandos. And I don't know. If there's one good thing that Disney has been doing with the Star Wars franchise is really expanding on this Clone Wars era of Star Wars.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
You know what I hate? I hate cold air blasting right into my fucking ear.
Sorry, it was glorious for a moment.
Indeed it was. All right. That's it for this week.
Bye, everyone.
Next week, Ewoks, Caravan of Courage.
Oh, my God.
I cannot wait to hear Dave's reaction to this.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be May.
Yep. All right. Thanks, guys. We love you. And we're out.
See ya.